No, I listen to it all the time. I tell all my friends to smack it raw.
Following podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the host are not to those of the host. Discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Smackin' Raw podcast, episode 233. 243. You told me 233. It's 243.
You guys
100%.
rehearsed this before we started.
It was 243. You even said 243. How'd you get
100%.
233?
100% 243. I am your host, the Warden, Matt Ritter, the patron saint of podcasting, and back here on Pornhub, ladies and gentlemen, for the second time from the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. It is Mr. Warren Hayes.
It is a pleasure to be able to come back to your program. I'm easing into it. I'm getting into the vernacular and whatnot, and it's starting to feel like home. It's a pleasure to be here, honestly. Thank you for having me back, Matt.
Absolutely.
I had tons of fun last time, and I'm really glad I'm back.
Oh, we're going to have a blast. We got a lot to talk about. And back again, he is the Sultan of Spitter Swallow, Daddy Delgado, Vince, who is now up to...
Yes. 2-0. I got 2-1. What?
Oh.
What? I don't understand what's going on here. Wow.
Oh, no. He's not up 2-0. He's still up 1-0 in the race for Pornhub, Poppy, as that really soft entrance music played, because I tried to make it like a wrestler surprising us and making an entrance as I was trying to give you your second point. From the She Elite Showcase, Miss Katie Kinsey Bebe is here. I forgot I told Warren that and almost spoiled it.
Good up.
Fun.
What's up?
Fun.
But you're still up one. You're still up one, Vince. You're still up one.
Not for long.
Kitty, it's always nice to be here with you doing a podcast with a fellow Pornhub Poppy. I do not like to and do not appreciate being deceived by Mr. Matt Ritter here. I don't like the deceit. Okay, this I don't appreciate. But Kitty, it's always good to do a show with you, man.
I'm all about the soap opera and wrestling, and what is a better soap opera than a surprise entrance into the podcast to take away one of your appearances that would put you just a little farther in the lead. We knocked you down the rankings just a little bit, but you're still winning, Vince. You're still winning. And also, Katie, when I told her Warren was going to be on, asked me like a week ago if she could come on. I told her yeah. So.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Haha.
All right, let's
get
Clearly, Vince doesn't like being ambushed. This is, if anything, this is a learning experience for me. If I ever have Vince on, I'm going to be like, oh, and by the way, I'm not going to surprise him with anything.
I'll be there too.
Wherever I go, Kitty follows, trying to tie up the race. Trying to tie up the race. No, I'm okay with being ambushed. It's totally fine. Katie's an awesome guest to have on the show. She's a fellow Pornhub Poppy. However, I don't like this deceitfulness from Matt trying to take away my win.
I am a co-host.
I'm just trying to make the race entertaining, Vince. That's all I'm here to do, is just try and make the race entertaining.
Because Vince is actually showing up for work now, so this is new.
Yeah.
I was showing up for work that entire year. The last few months of last year is where my absences came into play. I had unexcused absences to play, and to dish out. So that's what that was. I'm just
trying to keep it interesting. But let's get into some news and rumors. First and foremost, Roddy Strong apparently asked for his release from WWE. This is now following the release of Malcolm Bivens, who is no longer running his group, and his wife debuting, and I don't know that she has a contract with AEW, but was at least appearing on AEW in a title match against Jade Cargill, all of his friends, ex Undisputed Era members being over there now part of the Undisputed Elite. I haven't heard that he was either denied or granted it. I just heard that he asked for it.
He asked
I haven't
multiple
heard.
times. He asked it multiple times and has been denied.
Okay.
Damn.
It is what it is.
Well,
I mean,
either they've got.
It's the least shocking news, isn't it? Like it's
Yeah.
like it comes out and you're like, I think the fact that he asked multiple times is the little thing that you're like, oh, this is a nice little nugget. Yeah, that's interesting.
No.
But otherwise, Roderick Strong requests to leave WWE. You're like, sure, of course, yeah.
Like, I would too. Fuck.
Yep.
Right now it's probably not. NXT 2.0 is turning me around on what it is. It's no longer black and gold, but still, like, it doesn't feel like he fits there anymore, especially with. And I think I mentioned this last week. They keep chipping away at Diamond Mine. Every time they try to build it up, they chip away at someone. Like, I'm not a fan of Tyler Rust. I hated Tyler Rust. But, like, you take him away. You took out the dude that was the coach. You took away Malcolm Bivens. You keep taking away pieces away from Diamond Mine. Before you know it, it's just going to be the Creed brothers.
And arguably, Diamond Mine would have been fine without Roddy as long as Malcolm was still the mouthpiece. And
yeah,
Malcolm was doing his thing with Ivy and the Creed brothers. I don't think that. Unfortunately, the leader of the Diamond Mine is an essential part to the group. So,
well, once he took away his cruiserweight title, there was really not much for Roddy to do. If you really sit there and think about it.
And I'm sure if once he does leave, because I think it's inevitable. Like whatever it is, like he's not going to renew a contract. Or, eventually he is leaving, and I'm pretty sure. Whoever gets the interview, he's going to talk about the cruiserweight title and how much it sucked. Because I'm pretty sure that for him it was meaningful. But you know what I don't want out of all of this? I don't want an Undisputed Era revival in AEW. Because
they've already done it.
And I'm like, it's cute. Okay, look, like when they all popped in, all three of them, I'm like, okay, it's fun. And besides, look, they all have history before. Right, it's all Ring of Honor stuff. It's there's history. It's cool, but they get together, they do the thing, and now they call themselves the Undisputed Elite. It's UE. Oh, it's like, all right, okay, you're being cute now. We get it. Like, I don't want AEW to become the table scraps of NXT either, right? Because right now, I think the running joke is that Triple H actually created, developmental for AEW at this point. That's that's kind of, I think of that and it makes me laugh. But so, like, I don't necessarily want Roderick Strong to go into AEW and then to reform the UE. The thing is, we've seen it and it was good. The thing is, it was really fucking good. I don't need to see it again. We can all move on to something else.
See, now I agree and I disagree. I don't need to see a full-blown UE revival. However, and we're going to talk more about this when we get to Dynamite. I feel like AEW's essential problem is that they have ideas for stories, but they don't know how to properly execute and tell full-on stories. And we will talk about it when we get into Dynamite a little more, but I feel like the idea of the UE coming over and Adam kind of building this little side faction of his friends from NXT and it clashing with Kenny and the Bucks. And obviously Kenny's injuries played a part of that and all that, but then bringing in Jay White, I feel like there are great elements that they brought in there that they're just not really expanding upon enough. And by the time they get to it, we're not going to care. And again, we'll talk about that a little later. Speaking of AEW and releases or not re-signing contracts, Stu Grayson no longer with AEW.
Doesn't affect my life.
I hate it so much. I hate it terribly. Like you guys know, I watch a lot of independent wrestling, right? He and Evil Uno were in a tag team on the Indies before getting signed. They were called the Super Smash Bros, right? It was Evil Uno,
player Uno, player those, yeah.
And when AEW started, and they brought in all of these awesome tag teams, right? Of course, the Bucks and these guys, Santana and Ortiz and so on. Everyone was like, this is the home of tag team wrestling and so on and so forth. And I was like, and yes, you know, the SSB boys are going to be able to show what they're able to do because they are fantastic. They're a fantastic tag team. Now, the Dark Order angle, we remember, right? It had a bit of a crunchy start, and then they flipped into the Scientology thing, and then ultimately it became a vehicle for Brody Lee, and then, you know, sort of the comedy bits, which is fine, you know. But Dark Order, SSB never got the opportunity as a tag team to explode and do what they do best in this promotion, which apparently was the haven for great tag team wrestling. You know, and they had this great tag team, never got a chance to use it. And brothers and sisters, I am on record when they signed these guys, I sold Stu Grayson. I was still doing stuff at Fightful at the time, and I remember it clearly saying, this guy, look, top guy, maybe not, but this guy is a upper mid-card act. Fantastic. He can do it all in the ring. He's just an amazing talent. And, you know, it's frustrating to me. It's really frustrating.
That is the core issue of AEW, in my opinion, is they diluted the roster with tag team talent. They had so many great tag teams. The thing is, they're going on 3-4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
You want to see Proud and Powerful be tag team champions. You want to see Dark Order, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson be tag team, but you can't just hot potato the title. And there's so many people here. Not everyone can get a title run. And you also have a men's singles division, 2 technically men's singles divisions, and 2 women's singles divisions that you have to give time. You've only got 3 hours on TV to do so. So when you dilute the product so much, because like right now we see all of this main event talent, all of these great wrestlers in the men's singles division, the women's division, and all of these tag teams. If it was a promotion that was just straight up tag team wrestling, we would have gotten that. But the problem is when you've got the Young Bucks and you've got Proud and Powerful, FTR, Private Party, and you're trying to build Top Flight, Lucha Bros, all of these things, there's way too many for everyone to get the shine that they need to. And I think that's why Butcher and Blade have failed. I think that's why TH2 failed. And I think that's why I am not a fan of TH2. I will tell you that right now.
I think TH2 was going to fail regardless.
Well, Jack Evans is still in Mexican prison, so it wouldn't have worked anyways.
100%. And that's why the Dark Order, which had a few tag teams in their group, you know, you had Silver and Reynolds, Tiny Hands and Reynolds Rap. Like, not everyone's you're not gonna have the time, especially in 3 years, to see everything fleshed out.
I think the whole discussion about AEW's roster bloat is a completely relevant one to have. But I'm not even saying they needed to be tag team champions. They needed just to have some time to stretch their legs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Prominent.
Right, I know, but like I said, you're having the same discussion with Proud and Powerful. It's like, I can't believe Proud and Powerful hasn't been champions yet, or they're not featured more prominently, blah, blah, blah. But again, you had FTR, you had the Bucks, we just brought in the Hardys, you know, you've got all of these teams that you're featuring. Kenny Omega and Hangman, 2 singles guys came together and held the titles for fucking how long? Like, that's why this stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Way too many tag teams, way too many male singles wrestlers. Everyone's in a fucking faction. I love House of Black. You've got Kings of the Black Throne. They're not doing shit as a tag team. Now it might be Brody King and Buddy Murphy and Alan, who knows what, or a trios deal. We don't have trios titles, but we're having trios matches. So
I did see, I don't remember where exactly. So I don't have a source. So I apologize for the unprofessionalism. But I did see that supposedly the trios titles were actually made and they're just waiting to introduce them. So
I think it's Uncle Dave who said that.
Was it Uncle Dave?
I think so.
I don't believe anything that comes out of Uncle Dave's mouth.
He's the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Well, with AEW, I believe it. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure he gets with AEW. I believe it because I'm pretty sure he's being told directly from Kenny and the Bucks. So, like, I'm pretty sure
he's sucking someone's dick backstage. Like, he's got to be. Has been for a while. Sorry, Warren. I'm just saying.
I was playing.
He's either sucking someone's dick or he's doing lines off someone's dick with Tony Khan. One of the two.
See that? That's a vision right there. You know, imagine that in his office, you know, with all the fucking paper and cardboard everywhere.
Oh, that's a vision.
Oh,
yeah, there you go. Good. Happy nightmares, everyone.
It's just they just bring in like John Silver or Alex Reynolds or whoever's just on the roster that they're not using. It's like their cabana boy to hold the cocaine
Michael
for them
Nakazawa.
while they're Michael Nak. Yeah, there you go, Michael
Baby
Nakazawa. Dark Side of the Ring is maybe gone, maybe not gone. Like they said they were canceled for season 4, but then they tweeted out, what do you want to see in season 4? So maybe they have a deal in the works somewhere else besides Vice where we might get a season 4. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Maybe they didn't know that they were canceled. They just tweeted out some dumb shit because they don't read the news.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I didn't even know they were canceled. I think after season 1, I stopped caring.
It's Uncle Dave who said that they were canceled.
Oh, well.
But
damn it, Dave.
God, stick to doing lines on people's penises, Dave.
So one of two things happened. Either they got sick of bringing him on the show and they just said, oh, hey, our show's canceled. Or he actually, because he's on the show so much, has some insider knowledge. It's one of the two.
No, but Vice, the network, actually tweeted out denying the rumor. That's what they said. They flat out said we're committed to Dark Side of the Ring, because the guys who do the Dark Side of the Ring thing, they have a whole
Dark Side of the 90s, Dark Side of football.
There's so much.
So that's all them. So they said we're committed to that. And when Vice tweeted that out, then the account tweeted out, hey, what would you guys like to see in a season 4? So I kind of like the approach that they took with that. It was like, oh yeah.
So what you're saying is they just decided to cut Dave off and said, oh yeah, our show got canceled, so don't expect to be booked. And
well, I think the thing is that, like, you know, from what I've read and what I've heard, a lot of people got into a lot of trouble in season 4 for a couple of episodes. I'm sure you know which ones.
I wonder which one.
And they've been losing a lot of collaboration, a lot of cooperation from, you know, people within the industry where they're like, no, we're not gonna go back because you did this to that person, you put that quote on, you know. So they're, you know, so that caused some rumblings, and JR even said, I'm not gonna do their show anymore, kind of thing. So probably someone said something to Dave, and Dave was like, eh.
So you're saying that when Tommy Dreamer compared sexual assault to a man bun, and then it got him in trouble, he wasn't happy with the way he came off on the show.
It was out of context, Matt.
Yeah, it was out of 100%.
No, Tommy Dreamer out of his fucking mind. That's what he is.
Ric Flair never did anything wrong in front of Tommy Dreamer.
Stop.
Depends on the context. It's all about context. You know about this.
I will fight somebody in the Zoom call right now.
Last but not least, unless Vince has anything to add to the Dark Side of the Ring news, Candice LeRae her contract has expired AEW style. She was not released. Her contract expired. She is back to go wrestle men on the indies and bleed and beat the living dog out or shit out of herself and other men and do all of the fun shit that WWE would not let her do, that she became famous
just be a mom.
And be a mom as well.
You know, that's someone that I feel like would help elevate the AEW women's division so greatly, because like I know we don't want to just see every single person show up in AEW, and unless your name is like unless your name is Britt Baker, you really aren't really highlighted all that often, or you're not
Jade
getting
Cargill.
that kind of Jade Cargill too. I forget. Jade Cargill, but she's only on Rampage. And sometimes she does vignettes on Dynamite.
She's on everything.
She's everywhere.
This
Are
coming
you
from a
blind?
guy who doesn't watch Rampage, and if I'm lucky,
Who
might
literally-
occasionally catch Dynamite.
Who literally asked, "Oh, I tried to turn on Rampage and hockey was on."
I didn't watch Dynamite.
To be fair, inside baseball, I also forgot Rampage was on early, but I took notes off what I read happened, so I've got notes for that. So
okay,
Literally
or we cannot
told you
cover
guys
it, and
this.
no, we're
none
gonna
would
cover
be
it. That's what we
none
do
the
here,
wiser.
Vince. This is your job.
Literally said this.
No, but I honestly, wherever Candice LeRae goes, I'll be completely happy. Whether that's Impact, she goes back to the Indies,
ECW.
AEW, or even if she goes and re-signs with WWE and gets a new contract, because there's still matchups that I want to see Candice have. I do want to see her against Bayley primarily. Is the main match I still want to see. Her against Sasha would be a fantastic one. Her and Bianca, her and Becky Lynch, her and Asuka. her and Io. Well, just the women that I want to see Candice face.
You've seen Candice and Io. What are you talking about?
Multiple times.
You're like, oh, these are matches I want to see, said Io.
I want to see it again.
I
want to see it again.
Feud with Io.
I want to see it all over again. Give it to me all over again. But I'm okay with whatever Candice does. But like, if she does something with AEW, I think they would spotlight her a little bit better than they have like a Ruby Soho or a Toni Storm.
I don't know. I think so. The Bucks are like really close friends with Candice, and they're very close friends with Adam Cole. And look at Adam Cole; he was in the title picture. Look at Keith Lee; he's not good friends with the Bucks, and he's just a tag team with Swerve. Kicked her in the face with all his might with a thumbtack shoe. I would hope they're friends.
She beat him anyway.
That's true. She did win by herself.
She's a badass.
By herself.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is an opportunity for two jokers to debut at Double or Nothing in both the men's and women's tournament. A lot of speculation that it's returning Miro, possibly a Cesaro, but we could see Mr. and Mrs. Gargano be the jokers in those tournaments.
Johnny.
I really want. Look. I'm with Vince. She needs to do something that'll make her happy, that will satisfy her creatively and as a wrestler, because that wasn't the case in WWE.
Yeah.
No way, shape, or form. They had her basically backbench for 18 months while she was Mrs. Wrestling, right? So on and so forth. And then they finally have her wrestle, and they don't know what to do with her. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. As a fan though, I want her to go back and fight some dudes. That's what I wanted to do, because Katie said it. That's where everyone got to know who she was, and she was she was in wars. She had wars with Chris Hero on the West Coast. Like, we're talking someone who's wrestled like top guys who are signed in big positions in companies right now. Sure, there's the whole thing with penis dude that we don't have to talk about, but that was still significant. We don't have to mention that. We can mention the fact that she beat the Young Bucks all by herself.
Exactly.
That's critical.
Yes.
And look, she's tougher than you. Candice LeRae is tougher than you. She's always been tougher than you, and she will always be tougher than you. I want to see her go fight some dudes on the indies, and then settle into a nice little signed contract thing. But that's just me being very, very jealous.
I don't know where, but I don't care exactly where, but I do want to see Minoru Suzuki versus Candice LeRae. I feel that would be a fantastic match. That would be a fantastic match. Murder Grandpa versus Candice LeRae. That'd be it. That'd be it for me.
Vince, what did you just do? What? I love that you put that into the universe.
I'm trying to manifest it, Warren.
All right, Warren, where would you like to start this week? Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, or Rampage?
Let's start with Raw. Let's go in chronological order.
All right, so we kick it off with a Bloodline promo. After waiting 10 minutes for Roman Reigns and the Bloodline to walk down to the ring, and I am not shitting you, I counted, it was literally 10 minutes, to hear what he has to say. Before he even gets to speak, RK Blows comes out, takes out the Usos. Drew and his giant metaphorical penis join the party. Roman tells Drew to leave his big dick out of this, so he drops it to the floor, gets in the ring. They go to blows. We go to commercial, come back, and we're told the officials broke things up and got things in order. Kevin Owens and Alpha Academy defeat Street Profits and Freaky Zeke. Earlier today, we found out that KO had a hissy fit about Ezekiel in front of the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. So Chad went and was a big snitch, talking about them drinking on the job, so on and so forth. That led to this match. KO and Alpha Academy get the win. We have a interview with AJ Styles. He says if he beats Priest tonight, then Priest is barred from ringside. Adam Pearce informs Sonya that tonight she has zero executive power. You are a wrestler tonight, and while you're a wrestler, you can't do shit. And also, there's going to be a 6-woman tag team match, and tells her who the participants are. And she's like, all right, so we'll make this a no DQ match. It's like, you didn't fucking listen, bitch. You have no power. You can't make it nothing. Go wrestle. Veer has an enhancement match. He's getting the Braun Strowman treatment, interviewing the local opponent before his squash match that made us really feel heartfelt for the indie guy that got his ass beat by Veer, who crushes him before and continues to crush him after the match. AJ Styles defeats Damian Priest. So Edge cuts a promo insulting the crowd before AJ comes out. And then there's a post-match beatdown on AJ. Finn comes out and saves him. And then we get some Bullet Club love between AJ and Finn Balor. That's what everyone wants to see. Got to give the fans
before
what they want.
Right before Bullet Club Day, too. Shout out to Savannah and her and New Japan Takeover episode. I haven't finished it yet, but I like what I've seen so far.
She doesn't listen to the show, but thank you.
That's okay.
How dare she?
She doesn't listen to anything.
Cedric sucks up to MVP trying to get back into her business. MVP's like, listen, I moved on. It's time for you to move on. I moved on. Bob moved on. Everyone moved on. Let that shit go. He's like, no. Let me go out there. I'll fight Bobby Lashley. I'll prove myself when I beat him. Let's talk. And almost is like, yeah, just get the fuck out of here. Go. Like, go, bro. Go do your thing. We got Miz TV with Mustafa Ali. Ali's music's getting cut off. His mic doesn't work. Miz is taking shots at how Ali complains to Twitter about what's going on in his career instead of, doing something about it. Theory comes out, interrupts to suck Miz off, got his loss expunged, so on and so forth, because I'm you, but just taller and in better shape. And Vince loves me because I used to rub his leg under the table when we had segments together. Ali says that Theory and Miz need to shut the fuck up. Theory says his mentor granted him a championship contenders match. And not only that, he's making it a devil's three-way. So poor Ali had to take on 2 men at once to get that championship contenders match. And he was. Actually, Miz and Theory get the win, defeat Ali. So he was not up for the challenge. He tried. He struggled. He couldn't handle 2 men at the same time, Vince.
It's always rough for your first time go. You can't handle.
Vince knows from experience.
And then Tommaso Ciampa, after seeing this man fail to handle 2 men at once, slides in the back door and just gives him a pounding again. Poor Ali, just taking it rough. We got 24/7 nonsense. Dana is irrationally and possibly pregnant the way she is, blaming her husband. I don't know what was going on. She was blaming him for everything. It's all his fault. I thought it was going to lead somewhere. It really didn't. Nikki ends up winning and then losing the 24/7 title from Dana. Now she wants a divorce because it's Reggie's fault that she is champion and she has to defend it.
Just got married like 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Truth offers to be Reggie's divorce lawyer because Truth does everything. He's
certified.
This man has more jobs than fucking Carson Daly did back in the day. Like, or Ryan Seacrest, or whoever's relevant now because I'm fucking old.
Bad Bunny seems to be in everything. So
yeah, Bad Bunny. There you go. And then seeing her sad and distraught, Doudrop comes up to Nikki and says, "Hey, you done fucking around? Can we be serious and have some fun now?" And she's like, "Yes, I can. I'm done fucking around." Rollins wants to celebrate Seth Rollins because why not celebrate yourself? Who doesn't want to celebrate themselves? He thinks he's great. Let's celebrate him. The crowd, however, wants Cody Rhodes. They start chanting for Cody. Seth gets mad, yells at the crowd, gets ready to throw on a highlight package to masturbate himself. Cody's music hits, comes down. Seth tells Cody, either come out here and say nice things about me or leave. This is all about me. This has nothing to do with you. Stop trying to steal my spotlight. Cody proceeds to tell Seth, in the most sarcastic, ego fellatio way possible, that you're great, but also you're not as great as you think you are. Seth insults Dusty. Cody goes off the rails. They go to blows. Cody sends Seth running. Fun segment. Bobby defeats Cedric, so Cedric is not getting back into the Hurt Business. They are not getting back together. That's done and over with. And then in our main event, Liv, Bianca, and Asuka defeat Rhea, Becky, and Sonya, with Liv getting the pin.
Yeah.
What are we spitting and what are we swallowing from Monday Night Raw?
I'm gonna swallow the main event. I think it was one of my favorite thing of the entire show. And Liv showed out. Shout out to Asuka being a trooper, getting smacked in the face with Bianca's braid and still falling through with the match. I know she must have been gravely injured after that. It's a foreign object apparently. And yeah, like I said, Liv had a great performance. I'm glad that she got the win. Swallowing the Bullet Club reunion, like the little teaser. I don't know, is it going to lead to something more? Probably not, but I would love to see a tag team between Finn and AJ. I think that would be kind of cool, especially if they unify the titles and we can see AJ and Finn on both SmackDown and Raw. Interesting, but that's what I'm stalling for sure.
Well, seeing as how they edited out the too sweet of the Raw recap, I can guarantee you this is going nowhere. Nowhere more, I should say.
Let me have hope, Katie. Let me just hope just a little bit.
It's Monday Night Raw. You should have no hope.
And Monday Night Raw's been
Am
better than SmackDown.
I wrong, fellas? Am I wrong?
No, I agree.
Thank you. Or it's like, no, you're fine.
I'm going to spit 44.25 hours, minutes, of wrestling on a 3-hour show. That makes absolutely no fucking sense to me. I don't know why people watch Raw. I really don't.
And I'm so glad you brought that up.
I seriously do not understand why people watch Monday Night Raw, because you don't watch it for the wrestling. I'm sorry you don't. You really don't. You cannot watch this show for wrestling. And are you watching it for compelling character development? Jesus Christ. I can point you to 50 other shows that will have proper, interesting, fun character development.
Better Call Saul's on Mondays night. So if you want character development, go watch Better Call Saul.
There you go. See, honestly. But go ahead, Matt.
Well, I'm gonna answer your question because this is something I kind of brought up a couple of weeks ago, and you and I have discussed. So it's fair to say, Warren, that you love the art of the wrestling, the sport of the wrestling, the in-ring. You want as much of that as
entertainment.
I
like to be entertained by sports. That's the difference. There you go.
I, however, enjoy the soap opera. I enjoy the drama and the ridiculousness and all of the stuff that leads up to matches. I appreciate a great match. I can enjoy a great match, but I can't just sit down and watch match after match after match without all of the drama and backstory and build that gets me there. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all of these stories are great. They're not. The 24/7 stuff is terrible. Happy Corbin is awful. There's a lot of bad, but there is some good.
Purple Edge is pretty bad too. Let's be honest. Purple Edge is pretty bad.
I enjoy the Sexecutioners, first off.
The who?
The Sexecutioners.
What?
The Sexecutioners.
Calls them the Sexecutioners.
You made up that name, right? Okay.
That was all Matt.
They are the Judgment Day.
Because honestly, if that was what they were being called on Raw, I just might actually tune in a little more then. I was like that.
Matt always makes Raw a little bit more interesting. He always finds a way.
No, I enjoy those dark characters, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I do think they could be doing a little bit more with it, but we'll see where it goes. I said that it kind of looks like The Undertaker retired, and they put his gimmick on wholesale, and Edge got a little bit, and Joe Wayne Gacy got a little bit. We'll talk about that when we get to NXT.
You divvy up the corpse.
That's the great thing about wrestling is you love what you love and I love what I love, and we are a great example, the two of us, of two people who can love opposite things in wrestling yet still come together and enjoy it as a whole without like arguing and fighting and blah blah blah. But that is why I tune into Raw. That's why I love NXT. I know you do not love NXT 2.0. NXT 2.0 gives me all of the fucking soap opera, high school drama, crazy bullshit that I want in wrestling, and some really good matches, better than what you're going to see on Raw.
NXT is like that perfect porn scene, that porn video that you find that has like a very funny, over the top like story to build up to the foreplay and to the actual action, and that's what NXT 2.0 is. I love it. I think it does it perfectly.
I was gonna say something. Never mind.
No, go ahead.
No,
go for it. Go for it, Katie.
No.
Speak your mind. Speak your mind.
But you're right. I'm not watching it for the wrestling. I enjoy wrestling, and I've said this before. Part of the reason why I don't get into New Japan is because every time someone's like, "Oh, you need to go watch this match or this match or this match," and I get interested in the stories that lead up to the match, but no one ever tells me, here's a great story that New Japan told leading to this match that you should go check out.
Yeah, I feel like that's a issue right there with New Japan, because they do tell stories. There is story buildup. They just tell a lot of their stories in the match. Their stories are being told. Yeah, so you have to watch a few matches prior to that one match. There's a story to it.
But I like the backstage.
Yeah, well, you see, to me that I like it to a certain degree because because here's the thing. It's like there are things that I find extremely entertaining. Look, as much as you're absolutely right. As much as I like the work rate, I like compelling matches and so on and so forth. Give me the Dark Order. I love the Dark Order shit. Like I really do. I it's not that I don't like the backstage stuff. It's when I don't think that WWE in general does a very good job in creating stories, making them compelling, and then making you feel rewarded for following through the story. Because most of the time they're going to let stuff fall through, or they're going to just retcon it, 6-8 months, a year later. We're like, well, Jesus Christ, you had me get involved in this, then why are you doing this now? So I never get a feeling that I'm being rewarded for watching WWE. I get rewarded for watching Tomohiro Ishii versus Hiroshi Tanahashi last weekend for the IWGP United States Championship, which was a fantastic match because that's what I wanted. And I did that specifically on purpose for you, Matt. I did specifically that match just for you. And the match rewarded me. It gave me everything I wanted. But if you're giving me the story means that you're supposed to give me story beats. You're supposed to give me, a kickoff point, a plot development, denouement, conclusion. Right? Mm-hmm. MJF and CM Punk was fantastic, and I wasn't into it at first. But they got me into it, and by the end I was like, this is great, But when I go to New Japan, like Vince said, the stories happen in the ring. They happen in the matches leading up to the story. Because it's a sports-based presentation. They don't do backstage interviews or skits or vignettes or music videos. And so when WWE puts it on, I'm like, this better be good. And my expectations are twice as high because I don't know if you guys heard, this is $1 billion company, right? So I'm expecting top of the line, high level production, and well thought out planned shit, which frankly isn't the case. So all of this together, plus on top of that, I don't even get a third of the show, which is wrestling. I'm like, why am I watching this? Why am I watching poorly constructed characters in these stories that I feel go nowhere when I could be watching Better Call Saul on Monday, which is going to give me exactly that. But
Better Call Saul. That's something else. Can we do a Better Call Saul podcast? That's what we should be doing.
You can do whatever you want on Straight Talk. That is your show. You do whatever you want, Sunshine. And I'm the same way, but the opposite. Whereas I appreciate great matches, but like, I'll talk about it more when we get into NXT because I think NXT has a great example of what we're talking about. So, any other spits or swallows?
And Lash Legend, right? That's the one we're going to be talking about. Nikita Lyons and Lash Legend.
I will talk about Nikita Lyons and Lash Legend. Yes,
as we should.
I have to do it because you said it. The Itchy and Scratchy Show. Okay, I feel better now. Any other spits or swallows from Raw?
I'm gonna swallow Kevin Owens because he is a gem.
Great character development, entertaining story.
Kevin
just
is
losing his shit.
One of those people you can put in anything. You can have him be the serious heel. You can have him be this delusional fucking heel. Oh my god, that's Elias. And then adding Chad Gable, who is also fantastic. Like, it works. And I don't know what the fuck the payoff's gonna be. I don't even care. I just like Kevin Owens losing his fucking mind. It's my favorite thing now. So
I agree, Kitty. I agree, Kitty. I think that's the one thing I tune into every Monday night and enjoy off of Raw is the Kevin Owens, Ezekiel, hey, that's really a lie storyline, and Chad Gable being involved, the whole lie detector test thing, Kevin telling Chad that he's not going to pay him his Canadian dollars. Like that's grade A television. That's character development you see on Better Call Saul right there. Kevin Owens is bringing it. Kevin Owens is bringing it. I think I'm just gonna spit like Sonya still doing this whole authority figure thing. Like, oh, I'm still having power. I just want her to just like be a wrestler or be a backstage person. I don't want her to like juggle between both because
she'll lose her power.
That's where we're going. That's the story. The story is she was.
I just want her to lose her power like 3 months ago.
She was put in a position of authority, who abused that authority and now is having that authority taken away and is having to deal with no longer being in the position to abuse the authority that she was. And we are watching the downfall of Sonya from an authority figure back to a wrestler where she's going to have to compete. Again, one of the reasons why I tune in and enjoy it. I have a blast teasing and joking about how she's a racist, and only, they fixed that. They had her slap Carmella, so it's not as racist. She hit a white girl. Like, it is what it is.
She hit a Mexican girl, though.
It's she 50-50 racism now. That's what we're doing in WWE now.
It's like 75-25, but semantics.
That the Sexecutioners, because I'm just curious as to where this faction is going to go. I love myself dark characters and stables, and I hope that they develop this and it goes somewhere and it becomes something cool. Right now, Edge is doing a lot of promos. I love the entrance. I think the entrance is great with the chair and all of that. I think Edge and Damian are great wrestlers. I think what is going on with AJ is interesting, but again, could be done a little bit better, but I'm going to swallow that as well.
I am interested in what they're doing with Ciampa and Ali, though. Like, where's that? Because, like, Ciampa attacked Ali 2 weeks ago, and it's just kind of seemed out of nowhere because before that, he did it like a backstage segment where he was like, hey, I'm on Raw. Hey, that's actually Ezekiel right there. That was the last time we saw Ciampa before he attacked Ali. It seems like they've pivoted to him being the full-fledged heel in this Ali segment. And look, Ali's doing what he's doing right now with The Miz and Austin Theory or whatever, but Mustafa Ali versus Tommaso Ciampa is going to be a fantastic match whenever we get it. And that's going to be a pretty good feud. And it's going to be one of those sneaky good feuds that you see on WWE programming that sneaks under the radar. And I'm very looking forward to that. I like both of those guys. I think they're going to have good chemistry and they're going to put on a good match. I'm looking forward to seeing that on a weekly basis.
That's a match for guys like me.
Yeah.
Yes. Really, and it's a feud for guys like me, honestly.
That seems like an NXT match, like an old black and gold match.
Absolutely. It's one that gets me excited. And, and all I can say is, just let the guys do the wrestler type feud. Don't try and overcomplicate it. Don't suddenly like, oh, Mustafa Ali, he steals Ciampa's coat and then he runs and he pours, I don't know, whipped cream on it, and then leave
the shenanigans to Wendy Chu.
That kind of exactly. These guys are wrestlers. Let them wrestle. It'll be fantastic.
And they're gonna wrestle, and again, that's gonna be one of those things where we'll get the sneaky story that'll build to it, and it'll pay off with a great match, which is perfect harmony between Warren and I, because you'll be able to come over here and I will be able to talk about how Ciampa keeps coming in Ali's back door uninvited, and then you can tune into the Mr. Warren Hayes show and he will tell you about all the Uchi Kuchi Ogamis or fucking go Power Ranger plexes and all of the different great actual grapples and holds that he talks about on his show and the art of wrestling.
go Power Rangers.
No, Gucci Ganamis. All right.
Can that be the title of the episode? Uchi Gucci Gunami.
You can spell it. Go for it.
There's an indie wrestler out there who's looking for a name for their finisher. And
they just found it.
But no, you do a great job. When I listen to your show, you do know the names of all of the moves, all of the planchas and topes and things like that. And he has a passion for, like I said, the art of wrestling. So you will get the art of actual wrestling outside of my jokes, and then my jokes over here. It is a great feud for the both of us to share in.
Warren's fucking fantastic.
Yes.
Overall, Raw, spit or swallow.
I'll take it in the face.
Spit completely for me.
I'm just gonna take Raw in the face. It was what it was. It wasn't the worst show of the week. I feel like there were worse shows.
I'm gonna spit.
You gonna spit, Raw? I'm gonna swallow. Outside of 24/7 stuff and Roman's 10-minute entrance, there wasn't a lot that I hated from the show. So
you hated staring at Roman for 10 minutes?
Listen,
don't tell Cheesy that.
Certain people have an entrance that leads to a 10-minute entrance. There's an aura. There is something about it. Roman does not need 10 minutes to walk to the fucking ring.
No.
What if Nikita Lyons took 10 minutes to walk to the ring?
Is she twerking the whole way down?
Would you be complaining if she took 10 minutes?
There's someone who tweeted this. She walks like the seduction walk in The Sims. The way that that's how she walks.
Oh my God.
That's
That is how
Darnell.
she
Shout out
walks.
Darnell. That's
Katie will never be able to unsee that now.
He said that, and I lost, and I'm like, that's exactly how she walks.
Well,
and then she does like a weird like Power Rangers gyration thing in the middle, and then does a spin kick.
She's doing Shane McMahon.
Yes, she's doing Shane McMahon punches with seduction sim walk. There you go. That's her entrance.
Now I'm gonna have to go look up Sims porn. Thanks a lot. Where are we going next? NXT Dynamite. You just want to go in order?
Oh, is it? I'm still picking. Let's go in order. NXT.
Every time it's gonna be you. Okay. NXT. So we kick it off with the triple threat for the North American title after a very interesting intro from Pretty Deadly, who were fantastic because this is spring break-in. Mello Solo lose to Cameron Grimes. He retains his North American title in a damn good match. All three guys have a lot of potential. Mandy Rose, something that I'm sure Warren did not appreciate, but I absolutely loved, goes to a tanning salon. I thought I was getting Final Destination 3. Wendy Chu comes in, cranks up the tanning bed, locks her in the room. Mandy comes out burnt like a lobster. Toxic Attraction's like, well, we're still going to go get drinks. You should probably do something about that because you don't look great. Leaves Mandy behind to go enjoy their tiki bar experience out on the beach. We never actually saw them at tiki bar. We'll get into that. Nathan Frazier tears it down, defeats Grayson Waller. I don't know what they're doing with Grayson Waller. I guess we'll see. But Frazier looking pretty good. Tim from Wrestling Index said that he's got a lot of Johnny Gargano vibes in him here in NXT. Duke Hudson tries to get a sympathy fuck out of Indy because we're reminiscing about the fact that both of their lovers got fired, but we're not talking about it. Indy rejects him right away. She's like, no, I'm not into that. Get the fuck out of here. So he's like, oh, I wasn't really trying anything, but we saw you, Duke. We saw you, you sick, sad man.
You sick son of a bitch.
So it's going to happen if we're being honest.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. That's the story, Warren, is
no, I know.
Duke and Indy used to bump uglies. They used to fuck. They broke up. Mm-hmm. She started bumping uglies with Dexter. He wanted to make Indy jealous, so he was banging Persia. Now Persia and poor Dexter are gone out doing whatever they're doing, and now they're gonna be left to console each other once Indy gets over her heartbreak. Bumping
uglies. I haven't heard that in so long.
You're welcome.
Uglies.
We had the bartender, Fallon Henley, doing her cowgirl breakout tournament package, letting us know not only does her family own a bar, but she also likes to ride horses. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Tony D and Santos have a Godfather parlay. Santos, again, shady as fuck. They agree to peace. Like Tony's like, hey, we can split the pie. All right. You can have yours. I can have mine. It'll be cool. Santos is like, no. I want the whole pie. Why don't you come work for me? Tony's like, no, that's not going to work for me. They're like, all right, well, we'll agree to peace then. Like, we'll agree to peace. Santos is full of shit. Right off the bat, you can see by the look on his face, this man cannot be trusted. Shady as fuck. My poor boy, Tony D. My fellow Chicago Italian. Vince.
That sounds like Tony D's problem.
It hits home. It does.
It's striking a nerve, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because it's Matt versus Vince. It's Santos versus Tony. It's our entire dynamic here.
Chicago Italian versus Mexican. There you go. Similar Viking flags Raiders, too.
Viking Raiders.
Mine has an eagle in it.
I was gonna say you took ours and put an eagle on it. Like that was cool. It is what it is. Viking Raiders interview, starting to kind of feel like the old Viking Raiders now that they're down back in NXT doing their thing.
War Raiders.
Getting a little bit of that back.
To me.
They put Pretty Deadly on notice. Fakita Lions and Cora defeat Natalya and Lash Legend after a miscue from Natalya where she kicks her partner in the face because it's Natalya and why the fuck not?
Do we think it'd be the other way around? Given that Natalya is 100%
don't. It's Natalya. How she cannot keep a tag team partner because of this very problem, Vince. She has been with every woman on the roster and none of them have stuck.
Well, I mean, at least she's had a sample of the entire buffet. But no, I like if her gimmicks like the boat, she should be the best. She should not be making these rookie mistakes. It should be Lash Legend.
Well,
if
maybe she's not the fucking boat.
What if her gimmick is that she calls herself the boat, but she's not really the boat because she fucks up all the time, but in her own mind, she's the boat.
More like a raft.
Yes.
That little piece of wood.
A raft from
Titanic.
Naked and Afraid, yeah.
There you go.
Tatum Paxley does her breakout package, powerlifting. Viking Raiders versus the Creeds. Creeds get the win after Roddy gives them the assist. And then the Creeds are like, dude, what the fuck? Like, we wanted to come out here and prove ourselves. Why are you getting involved?
I'm trying to get fired. That's what he says. I'm trying to get fired.
And if I'm not correct, according to the announcers, that was Viking Raiders' first loss in NXT.
Oh.
I thought
Warren, look it up.
I thought they said on NXT that the Viking Raiders had not lost in NXT.
No, that's got to be a lie. I feel like they had to have lost at least once.
Well, they were pretty hot-shotted up to main roster once they got up there.
Warren's looking
Keep going. I'll look it up.
All right. Toxic Attractions Beach Day gets crashed by Roxanne and Wendy, and that could have been the entire show for me. Like, I could have watched that all day long.
GD running.
I actually went back and rewatched that segment. It was the only thing I rewatched from NXT. It was fantastic. Wendy and Roxanne steal their keys and their shoes, make them run across hot asphalt, which if you've ever done, you know is painful as all hell.
Terrible.
Barefoot. They move
Very
their
evil.
car.
Nice.
And this is part of Roxanne's training from Wendy Chu for the breakout tournament. Roxanne's like, we could be spending our time better. And she's like, no, we got to take down the Mean Girls. Like, trust me, this is much more worth it. And then in, I believe, our main event, because I scrolled too far.
Joe Gacy and Braun Breaker.
Not our main event, because after this, shady ass Santos Escobar kidnaps the consigliere of Tony D'Angelo. Is outside of his car
even seen
waiting.
that guy up until the meeting. I had
That
no
is
idea
not
who
true.
that was.
He's been on TV.
Yes, he has
I've
been
never
there.
seen that before.
AJ something.
They had the celebration
Styles?
for Tony after Tony took out.
Lee?
I'm gonna mute him.
They had the celebration for Tony after Tony beat Ciampa, and he was the one that threw it. He was there for the match with Ciampa, supporting him. He has been a part of this.
Oh, see, that's the problem then, because as soon as he beat Ciampa, I just turned off the TV, or I just started doing something else.
Changing the subject to the fact that your boy Santos is shady as fuck and kidnapped.
You know what? This is the business.
Calling for peace.
The business is the business. When you're in the game, you're in the game. That's what it's all about. There is no truth. There's no peace. There you go.
Cannot be trusted, man. Parlayed, asked for peace, and then immediately, not even an hour went by, Vince, and he already attacked and stole the consigliere of Tony D's empire.
But they're living in a different universe than everybody else. They're not gonna be singing it like this ain't gumdrops and rainbows. They're gonna be like holding hands, singing Kumbaya. There's no peace here. This is war. This is territory.
So you're saying Santos
it's what
is
it's
a
all
liar.
about.
He said
No.
peace, but he didn't mean it. So he's a liar.
Damn.
It'd be what it be. It's Tony D's fault for believing.
One of your favorite wrestlers does lie, cheat, and steal. So I get why you're supportive of this. It's the motto, but me personally, when you say peace, you mean peace. You don't 20 minutes later go steal a family member, throw them into a van, an unmarked van, mind you, very much Harlan vibes here, but slightly smoother with Santos than you would be with Joey and Gacy.
Well, that's what they were all about when they first showed up. They were attacking people left and right before we even knew Legado was. So this is their
the parking lot is not safe.
Okay, but that's you want to bring up Eddie Guerrero. That's like saying, Eddie, hey, Eddie, please don't lie to me. Don't cheat. Don't steal anything. That's like what? That's like waking up and telling the sky not to be blue in the morning. You know, like
Santos doesn't come out and say that his thing is lying, cheating, or stealing.
Yeah,
though. He does not give off that vibe. Eddie was at least up front and said, I'm going to lie to you. Neither nor there. We got to finish the recap. Then we can argue more about Tony and Santos. Main event, Braun Breaker retains his championship from Joe Wayne Gacy. However, Joe did let us know that should he lose tonight, he was bringing doom and destruction with him to NXT. So now after watching this man kidnap Rick Steiner, take him to a sex dungeon, shove him in a cage, let Harland have his way with him for God knows how many days, steal this man's family heirloom in the ring, throw it into a fire, put it on, lure Braun to a platform, get his match, and then shove him into the Creatures of the Night to be gangbanged. Who knows what Joe Gacy could be capable of going forward?
Oh man,
has he been watching NXT?
Yes.
It feels like a B movie from 1979 from the Trauma Productions.
Toxic Avenger is a fantastic movie, and this is a fantastic story.
I agree, completely agree.
But Braun wins with the spear, and I was not a fan of that because we got too many people using a fucking spear, especially in WWE. Everyone's got a fucking spear. Like, don't do that. Do not do that to him.
And not everyone does it well. So
no. I'm swallowing Toxic Attraction, their whole story. I'm sure that's going to be a spit for Warren. But I'm going to swallow that preemptively. Also, our opening match, the triple threat between Solo, Grimes, and Mello, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Main event, I'm happy with it. We had the two hooded figures with the red faces now, so this is like maybe the elite.
Did you see the WWE.com exclusive that they showed?
I did not.
Afterward, so I think he actually got kidnapped and was like stretchered out by the hooded figures.
Oh, so he's getting taken to sex dungeon.
Yes.
Yes. First daddy got, well, at least Harlan's not there to do to him what Harlan did to Rick. So
yeah, but he might have more fingers up his rectum than Daddy did, because like at least with his Papa Steiner, it was just Harlan, and then now it looks like he has a whole orgy lined up for him.
It's the way that you got so specific for no fucking reason. You out of pocket piece of shit.
It'd be like
God
that sometimes.
Damn it, Vince.
So spits or swallows.
Go ahead, guys.
I'm also swallowing the triple threat because banger match. Really, really thought Solo was going to take it a few times.
Yes.
And I would have been so happy with that. But like, I can see why they're not going to take it off Grimes right now, since he did just win it and they had that whole story with him. Whatever. I get it.
For his
it's
daddy.
Fine.
He won it for his daddy.
He won it for Papa Grimes. I get it.
There's a lot of daddy issues in NXT right now.
There's a lot of daddy issues in WWE these days, honestly. That's Cody's shtick right now.
And the one daddy issue that I wanted to see, I never got between Dom and Ray, but that's neither here nor there. That's not, we're not talking about that tonight. They brought Dom down, should have left him there, didn't. Moving on.
Toxic Attraction, always a swallow. Nikita Lyons, also a swallow.
Nikita.
Nikita.
I see a lot of potential in both Lash and Nikita.
Oh, yeah.
In ring. I do. I know you don't. I do.
I think I said this once with a certain wrestler, and I became a fan of him. But right now, she's very mid in terms of what she's giving me in the ring. Like she was hyped up. Obviously, everybody's gassing her up, and she's okay. I'm not saying she's bad or anything. I just don't really care about Nikita Lyons.
I mean, they're both good.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying that almost every single woman that, she's okay. She's like a McDouble at McDonald's. You know, she's solid. Everybody loves a McDouble. You know, but she's a McDouble. It's not.
Are we comparing women to hamburgers? Is that what we're doing?
Wow, what the fuck, Vince?
I do it with men all the time. You know.
Oh well, then that's fine.
Yeah, I always talk about Hangman used to like let it hang and stuff.
Actually,
yeah.
Just so
okay, all right. I like filet fish. It hits from time to time. I consider myself a McRib because I only show up seasonal, and I'm like,
if you're gonna compare Nikita to anything on the McDonald's menu, it has got to be a double quarter pounder. First off,
with cheese.
I mean,
she's plain cheesy.
With cheese.
No, she's plain cheesy. She's plain cheesy.
It's a meal. No, I do see potential in both her and Lash. Lash obviously still very green, but again, a very big, imposing, powerful woman that I think if they let her can do a lot, because we know how WWE likes to take characters like this and limit them. I'm looking forward to seeing what Nikita does with Natalya one-on-one, outside of Natalya being Natalya. to see if she can showcase a little more outside of the squash matches and the tag matches where they just want her to, hit the highlights.
Besides the stuff you guys have already swallowed, I'm gonna go ahead and swallow like local Chicago indie stars, Cora Jade and Roxy, both getting segments on the show. They to me they look like pillars. AEW always talks about the pillars of AEW. They look like the pillars of the NXT 2.0 women's division. They're two of the, like, Roxy and Cora Jade feel like two like big players to me.
Cora Jade is from Chicago. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they wrestled here in Chicago a lot. In the Midwest area, they wrestled here a lot. So like that's what I
know Sky Blue's from Chicago, and they're basically the same person. So I thought maybe like,
oh my god,
stop
they could
it.
be related.
He says this all the time. I'm not.
Stop it.
Sky Blue used to be thicker Cora Jade, and now Cora Jade is not as thick Sky Blue.
Wow. Okay.
Every single vignette that we had in the NXT breakout women's tournament has been good. Every single one I'm invested in, except for the bartender. She's the only one I don't care about.
The fuck you got against the bartender?
She hangs out with Brinks and Jensen. That alone knocks her down.
Brooks and Dunn? Excuse you?
Brooks and Jensen, whatever. Same difference. I don't care.
Brooks and Dunn?
Same thing. Same.
You got to live the gimmick on the show, Vince.
And Dunn.
Also gonna go ahead and spit the. Not spit. I'm gonna go ahead and swallow Santos Escobar getting the best out of Tony D. He should just know better. This is his territory. He should just go ahead and somewhere else.
When he burns Santos' house down next week, and there's a horse head just laying in the ashes, I don't want to hear shit from you because he should know it's coming.
Yeah, no, this is war. This is war. This is war. This is war. Unfortunately, I do feel like
turn.
Tony went and bought this man fresh fish, and this is how he repays him. Just saying.
Maybe he doesn't like seafood. Maybe he's like me and he doesn't like seafood.
You know how many fish tacos he could have made with that? Anyway,
True.
Neither here nor there.
Why have fish tacos when you have de carne asada? Al pastor.
Maybe the butcher wasn't open that late, and the only thing you get was a fucking fish, Vince. Like, gotta do what you gotta do.
Go to Taco Bell at that point. Just go to Taco Bell at that point.
Oh, you know about going to Taco Bell. You want to? Yeah.
I've had bad experiences with Taco Bell recently. Yeah. Not the best.
Warren, would you like to? It looked like you had stuff to say.
I don't watch NXT 2.0. It is not for me, despite the fact that clearly I'm in their demo. It's entirely not for me. But I do check out things when people tell me this match was really great, so I go and check, or really poor, either. So I go check out a few things, and I will agree, I will swallow. The triple threat match was fantastic. It was fantastically fought. Cameron Grimes is great, but you know what? Solo Sikoa, man, that kid is special. That's a guy. Yes. That's a guy I would put my money behind way before Braun Breaker. He's just he's so smooth, and he's got the presence, he's got all the net, and he's got confidence. He and I feel like Braun, the problem with Braun is that they're pushing him so fast that he doesn't have like that aura of confidence. It's the only thing that I can. You
can kind of compare it to what they were doing with an early Roman Reigns before he discovered the Tribal Chief stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Look, Solo Sikoa, man, he's a star, and I'm glad to hear. I didn't see the match, but I'm glad to hear that Nathan Frazier is having good outings as well, because the man formerly known as Ben Carter was a bit of a star, and
that's a better name right there, Ben Carter.
What?
That's a better name. I'd rather be called Ben Carter than Nathan Frazier.
That's his name. That's his birth name.
That's his God-given name.
Yeah.
It's a better guy giving him a better name than WWE.
And he's from Seth's school, so no one should be surprised that this kid's fucking talented.
Also, I forgot to mention this. He's very good. Like, he's got so many naturals. He's fantastic. He's really good.
Yeah. So I'm glad pull out the fucking Phoenix Splash on the match.
Yeah. That too. I forgot to mention. I want to swallow Nathan Frazier's theme song. I think it's like probably the best theme song right now in NXT 2.0. That's a fantastic theme song. I'd probably like add that to my playlist.
Though.
Now it is. When Triple H was in charge, it was just banger after banger after banger.
Oh yeah.
Now
I missed the CFOs. The CFOs. Shout out to CFOs. Looping songs for 4 minutes.
I didn't jump into the Nikita Lyons Lash Legend discussion, but I do want to throw in my 2 cents. I think Nikita Lyons does have something. I think she and I talked about this on my show. She wrestled in WoW, Women of Wrestling before, right? She was
the Lioness.
The Lioness. So she has chops. She knows how to do it. I think that they're focusing on all the wrong things to get her legitimately over, as opposed to just being like, oh look, she sits on people's faces when she pins them, you know. But she really does have something. Lash Legend, I think she has zero affinity for pro wrestling. I don't think she has the naturals. I don't think she has the knowledge, the in-ring presence. I don't think she has the feel of being a pro wrestler, of doing simulated combat. I don't think she has it. And the fact that she's on primetime television on USA on a Tuesday night is not on her. It's not her fault. She should not be on television. That's because that's what WWE wants to push. They want to push an image of a person, which she has. Don't get me wrong. Like, her personality, her swagger, it's there. But the minute that she starts to wrestle, everything falls apart. And that's not on her. She needs seasoning. She needs training. I don't think she has what it takes to be a pro wrestler. To be perfectly honest, I don't think she does. But if I'm running a show and she's a rep, we'll see. We'll train her, but train her. Like, if we were still running house shows, right? You put Lash Legend on the house shows. You have her get her reps there, put her in front of live crowds, and have her wrestle, other women. But now she's getting her reps on TV in prime spots, in high level angles, where it's like she just can't carry herself. She really can't. And again, that's not her fault, because it's the company that's putting her there in a very ungrateful position. The match that she had with Nikita Lyons, what was it, last week? That's another thing that, I went to see for myself, because everyone was shitting on it. And everyone shit on it rightfully. I thought it stunk. And it was bad. But it's not this. These women are doing what they can. They're doing what they can. And you could hear them calling spots in the ring out loud when they were trying to do the crisscross shit, because they didn't know what to do, because someone missed a spot in the choreograph that was choreographed, and they just lost it. It was like, oh shit, we don't know what to do anymore, because they're green.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with being green, right? Kermit the Frog taught us that. It's fine. But if you put them on television in these positions where they're expected to deliver, you're setting them up for failure ultimately. Those are my thoughts.
I will agree and disagree. I do think, from what I've watched, I've seen the progression of Lash Legend from months ago to now, and I feel like she's in a far better place now than she was months ago. So I'm watching her get better, and I feel like instead of putting her in matches with people like Nikita Lyons, putting her in matches with maybe veterans would be a better spot to do that. Someone like a Natalya who can, like you said, help her with that. We will see where she goes. Obviously, if she's going to have a career, this is the perfect place to be, because WWE can make millions of dollars off an old guy in a yellow fucking Speedo who only does 3 moves and build an empire off it. So
look, we know, all of us here know, we've watched enough wrestling to know, to be successful and get over in wrestling most of the time has very little to do with what you're able to do in the ring.
Yep.
Right? So she has something as far as charisma, so on and so, but as an in-ring talent, let's see how things go. Let it play out, quote unquote. But like, I don't think she has the naturals. I really don't. I don't think pro wrestling is for her.
Any other spits or swallows from NXT?
Have we started calling Joe Gacy the Woker Taker yet, or no?
No, I call him Joe Wayne Gacy because
okay,
he's
I like
fucking
that,
creepy.
the Woker Taker. He is, but he's winning me over. I'm not gonna lie, he is winning me over.
He won me over.
The darker, the more cult leader-esque he gets, despite the fact that they did and Triple H would not have let this happen. They did the terrible job of exposing the creatures of the night under bright light and let us seeing their shoes and hands. I don't know why the fuck they did that last week. Outside of that, the more demented and just insane fucking like comic supervillain he becomes, the more I am attracted to the cult of Joe Wayne Gacy. So
what is with you and fucking cult leaders, dude?
Yeah, no, I mean, my favorite genre of movie is like in horror is like when there's cults involved. I love it. I think it's, but I also think it's. I'm glad that Joe Gacy is able to like WWE is able to get a discount Bray Wyatt now. That's perfect.
And that's the thing. I lost Bray, and now I have great value Bray Wyatt, and hopefully great value Bray Wyatt can bring his value up and maybe get a brand name.
Exactly. Be a brand name. Exactly.
Yeah. Overall, NXT spit or swallow. Spring break-in.
Swallow.
I'm also going to swallow. Warren?
I only watched one match, so I will.
But you swallowed that match, so we'll count it.
Okay, there we go.
Counts as a W. There we go.
All right. Dynamite next.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jeff Hardy defeats Bobby Fish. We got Adam Cole on commentary. I don't know about anyone else, but Jeff Hardy looks slow as shit in this match and really was feeling his age, which worries me because outside of the fact that he just falls down gracefully, or as Reek says, with style in everything he does, moving slow, kind of like Matt Hardy does, is not a good sign for continued success in a very fast-paced wrestling company. The Bucks end up coming down, but don't really do shit. They're like, oh, sorry you lost, Bobby. And then there was a little Hardy Boy face-off thing. Well, whatever. Blackpool Combat Club defeat Butcher, Blade, and Angelico because his partner is gone. So sure, why the fuck not? They all used to be kind of sort of part of the HFO. We'll put them together.
I think they
we
all
also
still
got that
are.
awesome Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah, we have no idea what the fuck's going on with Andrade, and that's a big issue with AEW and the storytelling that we're talking about. Blackpool Combat Club package that was really cool beforehand with William Regal just fucking
damn.
Look,
Matt, just before you go on, okay? Just before we go on, this is the kind of storytelling that just comes and gets me. This is it right here. That's the shit. That's why I watch wrestling. We'll talk about it later, but this is the kind of stuff that I look at it and I'm like, can you believe WWE let William Regal go? That's what I'm looking at that. I'm like, everything was so fantastic. And it lasted what? Like, we didn't see the long version. The long version ended up on Twitter. It was like 3.5 minutes, something like that. Maybe
something
4.
like that.
Yeah.
We had a shorter version and it was just as efficient. It was just as good. Just a minute, and you get the whole picture. No 8-minute fucking monologues. And then of people coming in and doing each their turn on the mics. 1 minute of a brilliant pre-tape. And I'm sold. I'm in on it. I believe it. I'm in. Let's do it. Let's go.
And I'm with you. It was fantastic. Regal's fantastic. And he's one of those guys that can do that and get you really invested in what they're doing. However, what they're doing is just beating up random people. And I'm eventually going to need more than just beating up random people and a little more to it to keep me invested. Right now I'm good, but going forward, I'm going to need an actual kind of blood feud or someone that can rival them to make me not feel like every time they go in, okay, I can just write down Blackpool Combat Club defeated ... because that's what's happening now. Jurassic Express accepts Team Taz's challenge for their tag team titles, but Jungle Boy's like, hey, while we're at it, why don't I get a shot at that worthless FTW title that you carry around and never defend? Like, that'd be cool.
Spicy Ricky Starks, he called him. You're a spicy guy.
And then, so we did not forget, Keith Lee and Swerve were like, oh, hey, by the way, we're also still feuding with Team Taz because for some reason, Tony likes to book people in multiple feuds at once and not just complete something. So, hey, don't forget about us. You also still have to do something with us. Wardlow defeats W. Morrissey, formerly known as Big Cass. And again, Warren and I bump heads here because the crowd said we want Enzo. No, we don't. And I was on the we want Enzo side and he was on the no, we don't.
No, we don't.
They did announce him as Impact Wrestling's W. Morrissey. So a little, hey, I know we kind of treated you shitty, but also we'll acknowledge you on our national TV show.
Treated you shitty.
Impact Wrestling.
They had Kenny Omega wrestle on their pay-per-views. They
Exactly.
were getting record numbers both on their television programming and their pay-per-view buys. They didn't do them shitty. They lent them
they lent
the top commodity of the company.
They told a terrible
company.
They told a terrible story about Kenny being a kind of half-ass belt collector. They had him defeat their entire roster, then lose his belt to Christian so that Christian could go lose to one of their guys instead of building one of their people up to defeat Kenny and be a star.
Now, whose fault is that? Because
Tony Khan.
This is all
it's the boss fault.
It's Impact's fault, because you know who they needed to drop it to? The guy that is the current champion, Josh Alexander. That is the guy that should have been built, because they had a year to build a credible top-level challenger for Kenny Omega.
But
Tony Khan goes, he comes to the point where, we have to start dropping belts here, and he looks at the roster and is like, okay, who's the guy? Moose? No, fuck off, Moose. We're not touching Moose. Hit the bricks with Moose. What are you doing? So we'll do a lame duck champion. We'll pass it on to Christian, and Christian will pass it on to someone else, because Kenny Omega's my top guy, and I'm not having more than my top guy. Drop it to fucking Moose.
Well, let's assume they did build up Josh Alexander. I don't think they still would have had Kenny drop it to Josh. I think it would, regardless of. You're going under the assumption that if Impact did build up a star like a Josh Alexander, that AEW would have, and Tony Khan would have been like, hey, that's a guy you built up, you did your job, now let's drop the title to your guy and make him even more of a bigger star. That's assuming a lot, and I feel like even if they built up Josh Alexander, like Kenny Omega was not gonna like lose to Josh Alexander. He was still gonna drop it to Christian Cage or whoever, and then he goes ahead and does the job for an Impact star.
The point, you're probably right. My point being that Impact,
they didn't do that.
Meantime, Impact was being Impact and didn't do anything compelling with their own stars, where you're like, this is the guy who's going to lose to Kenny Omega, because everyone was like, and the Rich Swann match was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but you're like, who is the ultimate?
What about with the AAA world title? Didn't he just like vacate it?
He did vacate it because he
and
had to go.
They had hype with Andrade. He could have dropped it to Andrade. And it would have been believable.
They had the match. It wasn't. He was supposed to have the match with El Hijo del Vikingo, right? He was supposed to have the match with their top guy.
I'm a Mexican that doesn't watch AAA.
But he's a top guy there, and on top of that, on very good terms with AEW and the Bucks and so on and so forth. So but Kenny had to go. He was injured. Like, it's like, I can't do it anymore. I have to go do surgery. I have to vacate the title. But they had announced the match. It was supposed to happen, and we all sort of felt that we got cheated out of that one, because that would have been Dynamite.
Real quick on this tangent before I get back to the recap. Who beat Jon Moxley for the ICUP Northern Hemisphere Championship?
Oh, go to hell.
No, who beat Jon Moxley? For real.
For what? For whom?
The IWGP United States Championship. When he was champion, who did Jon Moxley lose to?
Lance Archer.
Yes.
He lost
because
on Dynamite.
Tony Khan is not going to let his top stars lose to someone else in the company at another company. So he drops it to us. Lance Archer is a fantastic wrestler, but in AEW, he is a fucking jobber. He is AEW's jobber. They bring him out. He beats nobodies for like 2 weeks to go into a feud to lose to a top name, and they dropped the title to Lance Archer so that Lance Archer could go drop the title to somebody in New Japan. And that's the same thing they did with Christian. They weren't going to sacrifice Jon Moxley to somebody outside the company, and they weren't going to sacrifice Kenny to somebody outside the company for a championship that they got from another company. That just seems to me how Tony likes to work.
And you know what? If you hold all the cards, why not?
Yeah. It is wrestling, and it's a very we're going to do what's best for us. Like,
sure. And, nothing that hasn't been done in the past. Like, this is, I'm not trying to excuse it, but it's not stuff that necessarily shocks me. Creating lame duck champions to like they're doing it in pro wrestling no one right now, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's Japanese wrestling. So
oh, don't worry, we'll talk about Japanese wrestling when we get to Rampage. I got you. Talk about that guy. So MJF Wardlow's like wrecking all of the security guards. Like they send 150 security guards. Wardlow's wrecking them one after the other, and he's like, "I'm not gonna stop until you give me my match." And MJF's like, "All right, bro, fine, chill. You can have the fucking match. We'll do a contract signing in not a shitty fucking town like this one. We'll do it in my hometown next week, but there's gonna be stipulations because I'm MJF, and there are always fucking stipulations. So you can jump through hoops, and then you'll have your match. And if you win, I'll let you out of your contract, and you can sign an AEW one and be a real person." Ruby, Tony, Britt, and Hayter have an interview. Find out they're gonna open Rampage Friday, but Tony and Ruby are like, "Well, we can't fucking wait to fight. Like, let's fight." And they're like, No. We'll see you Friday. Adam Page has an interview, a very impassioned interview where it genuinely seemed like he just doesn't fucking like CM Punk as a person in general. He's going to destroy him. This will not be my favorite quote of the night, a masturbatory Bret the Hitman Hart tribute match. Because he used masturbatory, and I love me some Hangman Page, so that was fantastic. And also CM Punk was not here to respond tonight.
Yep.
Jay, Lethal, and Sanjay complain that they don't get treated special enough, and they want to feel more special, and also tell us that they have a match on Rampage against somebody whose name I cannot wait to pronounce later, but I'm going to make you wait.
I'm so excited.
Santana loses to Jericho. We got a pre-match ass whooping. Jericho got destroyed by Santana before the match started, but of course the jag-offs jag off, and Jericho gets the win. The Gun Club decide that they want to scissor the Acclaimed. They're scissoring. They actually went out and bought scissors to scissor. So a lot of scissoring going on.
It's prop comedy.
Yes. We got a promo from Brian Pillman, and I hate to say this because Brian Pillman Jr., and I hate to say this, but unless he's talking about Cincinnati, I don't believe a goddamn word that guy says. He went on. I did not feel this promo at all until the very end where he's like, Cincinnati. Yeah.
Can we talk about it right now or?
Well, hold on. So he puts off Harbaugh. Again, I didn't believe anything he said until he started shouting. Calls out House of Black. I don't think this is going to help Julia's rotting eye by getting yourselves beat up, but okay, cool. The House of Black wrecks the Varsity Blondes. Then my boy Malachi corners Julia Hart, makes her quiver, gives her a chair, tells her to wreck Griff Garrison. Julia decides not to do so. So then an angry Malachi Black strips her of her eye patch in the middle of the ring, leaving her exposed. The Death Triangle come out and make the save. Warren, what would you like to say about this? Because I've got a lot to say about it, but I'm going to save it till after the rest of the recap.
No, it's okay. If we're going to talk about it later, I'll save it for then. Okay. That's fine. We're good.
We got the Baddies interview.
We're talking about it now. Sorry,
we're almost done anyway. Baddies interview. We're going to something about having possibly two baddie champs. Red Velvet's having a match against someone, and they're like, maybe there'll be two champs in the baddies. I don't know. Probably not. I don't see Red Velvet winning anything.
She's not winning the tournament.
Yeah.
She was talking about the Owen winning the Owen. She's not winning the Owen.
She's not
No. FedEx defeats Martin in the Owen qualifier in the Ray Phoenix. Phoenix?
I thought you said FedEx.
No, FedEx.
No, not FedEx.
FedEx is fantastic though, and I'm stealing that. So
Ray FedEx.
Yeah, Ray FedEx.
Ray FedEx.
We got a Thunder Rosa promo. She calls out Deeb. It was very fucking awkward. We're getting Deeb versus Rosa Double or Nothing. This whole thing felt kind of forced, and I don't know why, because this should be something fantastic, but the promo was just off for me. And then in our main event, because AEW is like, listen, we don't hate women. We got the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, Deonna losing to Mercedes Martinez, with Mercedes Martinez, the former interim champion, becoming the official Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and Deonna going back to Impact. Maybe we'll see what happens. I'm assuming she's under contract there for a little while, but she got to hang out with her best friend Britt backstage. So like, yay. Let's kick it off. I love the House of Black. I am spitting this segment, and the reason I'm spitting the segment is because Katie said it last night on the She Elite Showcase. Julia Hart got the mist in the eye in fucking December.
Yeah, no,
they have been dragging this out since December, and there is a difference between long-term storytelling and just not knowing what the fuck you're doing. And this is don't know what the fuck we're doing. The Varsity Blondes are involved. Fuego del Sol was involved. The Death Triangle was involved, and I get delaying it because of FedEx being injured. That's fine, but you need to do something else, and they're botching this. And if you were gonna turn Julia, now was the time to turn Julia. I much rather would have seen Julia Hart go to stop them from beating on Griff Garrison and then take the chair and start beating Griff Garrison herself than what I saw. Because now of months of her sitting, being emo in the corner, not participating, not caring about wrestling in any way, shape, or form, just being upset that she has to exist and be there as her eye gets worse and worse, which, by the way, I believe this is the first time there was actually paint on her face. So like it just all of the sudden got really bad.
It's not.
I haven't noticed.
It's been visible, but she's never really on TV, so you don't really get to see it.
You'd think she'd have taken some penicillin. Jesus Christ, to try and fix this.
Demon seed is spreading.
So
wow,
I'm spitting. I almost said something. I stopped myself. I'm spitting this. Come on, do better. Like this is that disjointed storytelling that I'm talking about that they do where they don't know and they get too many people involved and you've got Malachi feuding with too many people at once. Like just tell one fucking story and stick to it and make it work.
I really don't mind like the whole thing with the Varsity Blondes and the House of Black, because clearly they're this is like the feud with the schlubs to move us on to the feud with Death Triangle, which is ultimately what we really want, which is probably going to be a match at Double or Nothing. But look, you know Matt, I think you went over everything that had to be said in regards to Julia Hart, and this is what I'm terrified of, is that next week, the Varsity Blonde, Julia's like, I'm sorry, you guys, and then they all hug and they're back together, and I'm like, fuck you, because that'd be the worst outcome. I'm thinking, though, maybe it would have been easier for Julia if she had to crack the chair across Brian Pillman than Griff. Because Griff is the cool guy. And Brian Pillman is the definition of mid in a professional wrestler. No, but seriously, he's an average worker at best, very, very average charisma, and a very, very average talker. He's just like throughout. And I have no shame in saying this. I've said it on my own show. Brian Pillman is on a television program right now because of his dad's name. There is no other reason, no compelling reason that this guy will be on TV just because of his own capabilities. He is the definition of mid. He's average throughout everything he does. But then again, wrestling's a hard business to break into. Use every advantage you got. You are the son of Brian Pillman, a guy that all of his contemporaries, his peers, adored, loved. Brian Pillman is beloved by the fans. You're his kid. Of course, people are gonna. Yeah, let's bring up Brian Pillman's kid. Sure, a lot of them played with him when he was just a little dude, right? They know the guy. So use that to your advantage. Sure, I have no problem with that. But ultimately, this guy is nothing. There's nothing.
Brian Pillman was a raging hard-on of charisma, and Brian Pillman Jr. is erectile dysfunction when it comes to charisma, and I don't understand it.
But it's like Ric Flair and David Flair. It's like Bruno Sammartino and his kid, right? What was it? Bruce? I forget it's not Bruce. What was anyway? David Sammartino was another David. That's right. David.
I was actually going to say Dave.
It's weird, right? Where you have these incredible, guys full of charisma and showmanship, and their kids are like sticks of wood.
Yeah. What else are we spitting and swallowing from Rampage or Dynamite?
Dynamite. I'm gonna swallow the main event. I love me some Mercedes Martinez. I like Deonna Purrazzo. I'm not sure how I feel about Mercedes winning and unifying and being the undisputed ROH Women's Champion, but you know what? That's all Tony Khan stuff. He's not gonna. We've already established he's not gonna give the win to any Impact talent. So we finally got that forbidden door we wanted to see. That was the one talent on Impact, Deonna Purrazzo, that I wanted to see consistently on Rampage. On Dynamite or AEW in general. Matt threw me off together, so I have Rampage on the mind. But yeah, no, love the main event. I loved FedEx versus Dante Martin. I thought that was probably the best match of the night. The vignette of Blackpool Combat Club was fantastic, and that's about all I'm swallowing on the show. Just those three things.
If you can't figure out how to spell Uchikuchi Ogami for the title, FedEx always delivers.
FedEx delivers.
Always. Can't forget the word always. FedEx always delivers. That match, fucking incredible. Dante Martin's a star, and I said it, his brother Darius got into a nasty car accident, so he's out again, which is fucking terrible because that kid's good too. So, honestly, and I didn't even realize until Malachi was doing an interview somewhere and he said it, but that match was incredible, and they continue to put so much stock in Dante Martin, as they should. This kid's fucking ridiculously talented, and honestly, that's a pillar right there. You're gonna talk about AEW pillars and whatever the fuck. That is a pillar right now. Dante Martin, not MJF. Fuck Max. I don't care. Whatever. I will say the Wardlow stuff, I love. Do love me some Wardlow.
The pillar argument always bothered me because, especially now, the pillars seem very interchangeable. Every couple weeks, we're swapping someone out and adding a new pillar, and I don't feel like that's the definition of a pillar. Is someone that can be replaced by someone else?
Stable thing.
I think the pillars have always been MJF, Hangman, Sammy, and Darby. I think those have always been. Or was Hangman not?
People always said it was.
No, Jungle Boy.
Max, Jungle Boy.
I got the wrong blonde male.
Sammy Darby.
Yeah. Sam, Darby, Jungle Boy, and MJF for the four pillars, I guess.
Boy.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy Jr. Whatever.
Miss Light.
I'm gonna spit the Jeff Hardy match.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was. I thought it was. I thought it was bad. I thought Bobby Fish did everything he could to drag a match out of Jeff. And here's the problem. Look, here's the thing: is that you saw it, right? Jeff Hardy comes out, the Hardy Boys comes out. People have huge reaction. They love the Hardy Boys. I saw two live AEW matches shows last year, and Matt Hardy comes out. People are up on their feet and they're excited. The people love the Hardy Boys.
It's the nostalgia factor.
Exactly, but with reason. There's reasons. So many great matches and stories and whatever, so on and so forth.
Falling down a lot of falling.
A lot of falling as well. But Jeff, right now, what he should not be doing is singles matches. He should stick to the tag teams where he can not work the entire way, pick his spots, and go home and the fans cheer the whole way. It was rough.
What he was always good at.
What's that?
It's what he was always good at.
Well, he could work a singles match. He could really work a singles match.
Not if you ask Matt.
Well, not if you ask Sting.
And he should be doing what Sting is doing. Sting is I will wrestle tag team matches and I will jump off of high shit on occasion and make everyone go woo. And unfortunately, he picked one spot where he fell down and couldn't get up because it happens. He's up there in age. But
really thought he was gonna die when I saw it live. I really thought that man died. I got very scared.
I'm also spitting Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa. That was awkward, and it should have been so much better.
Yeah, because they're both good. They're both relatively okay talkers, but I don't know what the fuck was going on with that. That was weird and forced, and I don't think you should have just had them on the stage. That could have been something backstage. That could have been something way different. And it was weird. I agree. Spit that. And I'm spitting Jericho. Fabio looking ass motherfucker.
The fucking wizard? What is he, Harry Potter?
He wishes he was Harry Potter.
Because he did a fireball, and then people started calling him a wizard on Twitter, so he brought it. You know, he knows.
Because he thinks he can get everything over.
I'm spitting really Jericho's existence. I forgot. I always spit Jericho's existence. Like, if he exists, I'm spitting it.
I'm so over the Jag-Offs, the 5-on-3, the 5-on-2. Now that Kingston's out with the fucking fireball injury. Like, I'm so over this shit. Get Santana and Ortiz away from Jericho, for Christ's sake. Get them out of the program with them. Let them be a tag team. If you're gonna keep doing this shit, bring in somebody to make this 5-on-5. For the love of God.
They're gonna be in Long Island next week. This is my official prediction. Because Eddie Kingston's the mastermind here, because that's what they've been doing, right? Establishing the fact that despite the fact that Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz are, they really want to beat them up, it's a numbers game. So next week we're getting Homicide, who's going to be called up, and probably either Amazing Red or Hernandez. Either
probably
way.
Hernandez.
And they're gonna pop in. They're gonna do a couple of matches. They're gonna do hopefully a blood and guts match.
So I was gonna say blood and guts.
And then the two others will be
done, and then we're done with this.
And then we're done with them.
And then Jericho can go away too.
I want to swallow the Wardlow stuff. I think it's been fantastic, and him throwing dweebs all over the place. Christ, did you guys see the crowd? They were red hot. They were up. He was tossing dudes around. It was fantastic. I fucking love the angle. I think it's great, making him into a serious star. Can I spit and swallow? How does that work?
Well, so if you're kind of on the fence, you can either gargle undecidedly or take it on the face. That's generally our midline.
Okay. Well, because it's not that I'm like there's two. Okay, look, I'm going to swallow the actual main event. I'm going to swallow the match. Okay. For all the reasons that Vince said, I'm a big Mercedes Martinez guy as well, and Deonna's fantastic, and I thought the match was solid, but I'm going to spit the positioning of the match and the fact that the match was booked in the first place. Putting on this match in the main event was setting them up for failure, especially putting them on after Dante and Phoenix tore the fucking house down in the hottest match of the night. How do you follow that? That's a hard act to follow, right? Mm-hmm. So, and so that there's that part, but I think putting them in the main event, Deonna Purrazzo, who has never been on AEW television, not even for a pre-tape, not even on the Jumbotron saying Mercedes Martinez next week, I'm going to beat, nothing. And Mercedes wasn't even on TV. The last time she had been on AEW television was in March.
Yeah.
Next time we see her, she's winning the title at the interim title at Supercard of Honor. So
if you watch,
there was no attachment. There was nothing, like no real build to this. There was nothing for the crowd to get behind, because you've got one commodity that just hasn't been on TV because Tony Khan doesn't book women on TV. And the other one that, yes, I feel there's a lot more crossover, in AEW fans than, let's say, with WWE fans, that AEW fans will know of other wrestlers from other companies and from the indies and so on and so forth. I think there's a little more crossover there, but you can't just depend on that. No, everyone's like, Deonna Purrazzo, okay, well, like Matt likes to say, there's no story, there's no build, there's nothing to get you invested in the match. Main event on top of that, it's setting them up for failure, and the crowd was kind of dead for it.
They were.
And it doesn't really jazz up the wrestlers to go, yeah, let's, the crowd is into it, that energy.
I think they should have saved Deonna for the Joker position in the Owen Cup. Have her and Britt face off in the first round. That's money right there.
Yeah, that's a money match. And
if you would have saved her first appearance on AEW in that match, I think that would have been smarter. And you could have done this ROH United, whatever the fuck. after that, because you could still have Deonna as technically at the time, like the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion against Britt, and like it rates itself. But again, Tony Khan hates the women and doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. So
I have two more things to add about that. Is for one, do you guys personally feel, because I want to ask you guys, do you think it was just like Tony Khan's like, hey, see, women main event here too, we like women's wrestling, we support?
That's exactly why he did it.
Because I hate it. I don't know if Matt didn't mention it, but he did like this like promo where it's like Pacific Islander like appreciation much like he's like, oh yeah, I book people of all different nationalities. I have Asians on here. Look, here's a picture of Riho. Here's a picture of Wheeler Yuta. You know, like we're diverse here. You know, and it feels like very forced. It feels like there's nothing there. And then two, like I agree with Warren on that. You know, that they probably should have had the Dante FedEx match to start the show, and then build up to this match. Like Katie said, I had no idea that they were going to do this match before the show. I was wondering what the main event was.
They had announced it last week. It's like, oh, it's happening. You know, it's like, oh, okay. They had Mercedes do a couple of 30-second pre-tapes. You know, it's like, that's not for a main event. And I know people would have bitched where they'd be like, oh, well, the title match should have been in the main event. Okay, because that's the gut reflex.
With a build, sure.
But when you look at everything, you know what? It would have been, maybe second from the top. That would have been fine. Because honestly, just once Dante and Phoenix were done, I was like, Christ, this is a tough one to follow.
Unless you put Dante and Phoenix first, and then you have 2 hours to come down through everything else. I probably would have put Wardlow in the main event against, because that's your biggest story that you're telling, and that was the biggest pop. Yeah. I agree. Wardlow is Batista if Batista started 20 years before Batista started, and he is going to be huge for AEW. I will say I do think it's a little bit of we book women, but also he wanted to, because he bought this new toy Ring of Honor, show off Ring of Honor stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he should. That's what a promoter should do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to put your best foot forward at the same time.
Oh yeah, no, he should definitely have told a story, had Deonna come on, cut promos. I am spitting the fact that they do interim champions in AEW the way they do them, period, because she couldn't make a show, so we had to get a new champ. Like, she couldn't make a show, so we need an interim champion for one show that she missed.
Seen that?
That's what they did with. That's what they did with Cody, because Cody had COVID, and they were like, interim here.
You know what I think? Just really quickly, you know what I think this was? Look, and I'm speculating. I have no true knowledge of it. Why, when you think about it, why would you do an interim championship, right, in wrestling? Why wouldn't it not be just a number one contenders, right? Mm-hmm. What does it do ultimately? It takes power away from the current champion.
Yeah.
Right? It's leverage. It's negotiation. It's like, well, we're splitting the title. We're doing it this way. Maybe there was some of that with the Cody stuff too, where it's like,
probably.
You're holding the title, but I don't give a shit. Look, I'm the boss. Because ultimately what it does is that's what an interim title does. It takes power away from the person who owns the title. It creates leverage for the booker. I'm not saying that that's what it was, but I'm still going back and trying to figure out a real reason to do that, because Deonna was she's contracted to Impact. She told me in an interview. So I'm an Impact wrestler. I had an Impact show on the night they're running Supercard of Honor. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Tony Khan.
And I won the title before you bought the company. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Well, Tony Khan is like, this is my show now. My rules.
Yeah, it just sounds like a spoiled, rich guy that wanted to have his way, and he's like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna do this.
Spoiled rich guy or whatever. It's a promoter thing,
Yeah.
It's promoters. There's history behind this.
I just don't think we see it with too many promoters outside of Tony Khan in recent memory.
No, because we've only had one promotion who's taken over for 2 decades. That's why.
I like to think that New Japan was still a promotion. Ring of Honor prior, Impact Wrestling.
Not real in Matt's world, so.
New Japan will strip you of the title. It's just as simple as that. They're not going to do.
Oh, I love that. I'd rather him do that. I'd rather him just do that.
All right. I agree with all these points. AEW Dynamite, spit or swallow.
Swallow.
Spitting Dynamite. I didn't, except for like the last 2 matches. I didn't really care for the show.
I'll take it on the face. I think it was a very transitional episode.
I think I'm going to go with Warren on this one. I'm also going to take it on the face. There was some stuff I liked, but I think I had just as many complaints, and I don't think they outweighed the others. So, all right, SmackDown. We're supposed to kick it off with Charlotte versus Aaliyah. Charlotte comes out and cuts a promo acting like Aaliyah's not even in the ring, talking about Ronda, saying basically all of the highlights of all of the shit she has been saying for weeks about Ronda Rousey to repeat them. Then she's like, oh, yeah, Aaliyah, you're here. I'm going to treat you like I'm going to treat Ronda, blah, 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 and starts beating the dog shit out of Aaliyah until Ronda Rousey comes out to make the save. And then things actually got interesting because at some point during the brawl between Charlotte and Ronda, I actually got some fire and passion out of Charlotte where I actually felt like she gave a shit and maybe some of this might be a little real. So good on them for finally, good on Ronda for kicking her in whatever orifice she kicked her in to get the fire that's been buried down in Charlotte for as long as it has, because I have not seen that kind of fire out of Charlotte in a long time. Sasha loses to Shayna. Shayna uses the ropes in Natalya to help get the win. Then Naomi and Sasha end up fighting the submission Scissor Sisters off when they attack after the match. Shitty RK Blows promo where Riddle talks about putting things in his mouth or not putting things in his mouth. We got Happy Talk with more shitty jokes. In and out of the ring for Moss before Corbin just walks away. Gunther wrecks Drew Gulak because now he's trying out to be a wrestler. I guess that's his new. This week I'll try and be a wrestler again. Shinsuke interview. He didn't forget about Booger, and Sammy is a voyeur. He's basically in the back just spying on Shinsuke as he talks. Drew
He's
does
Randall from Reese's.
I'm sorry, what was that?
He's Randall from Reese's, just spying, writing things down in his handy.
He's 100% a snitch. Drew, I want to kick Roman in the face promo. Sheamus and Ridge defeat the New Day in a tables match because Butch was apparently under the ring the entire time, hanging out in that little world that Hornswoggle had, that DX went to and visited, where they went to, did the court thing and all of that. Yeah. That's where Butch has been. He came back, helped them get the win in the tables match. Sammy the Snitch runs to Paul Heyman, and he's like, hey, I just tell Roman Shinsuke was talking shit, but I'm going to handle it. I got this. I'm going to handle it. Just make sure you tell Roman that I'm going to do this. And Paul's like, yeah, let me gaslight you real quick in case you get your ass kicked. We don't need to worry about Shinsuke. We got other shit. Yeah, go have fun, kid. And he does. Sammy goes and asks Adam for the match. Adam's like, well, not next week. We'll do it now. Not like now, because we got 2 other things to do before we get to it, but I'm going to tell you it's now. And then Shinsuke loses to Sammy Guevara.
Sammy Guevara?
Sammy Guevara was on that's big news.
SmackDown?
That's big news.
That's
the forbidden backdoor has been opened.
Sammy Guevara, Sammy.
Oh, right. Yeah, same thing.
They're both Canadian, right? Anyway, Lacey's story continues. No, they're not. This is week 5 of her wearing the exact same clothes and distracting me. And then, in what really seemed weird to me, the announcer's like, Lacey Evans would like you to show her the proper respect and applaud for her when she comes out, which did not feel like a very babyface thing to ask of the crowd before she came out to wave and kiss babies and say hi. But they did it, so okay, fine. Yeah. Make sure you give her proper respect, ladies and gentlemen. Now, be a good guy, because if you tell me that, I'm going to be like, oh, fuck that person. But that's me. Then in our main event, RK Blows and Drew brawl with the Bloodline because 6-man tag match this weekend on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for on Mother's Day than Roman Reigns and Drew and his giant metaphorical penis going at it?
I mean,
so, I don't have a lot of.
Why are people afraid of Drew's sword?
Because it could
murder?
kill them.
Well, here's the thing. He has not beheaded anyone with it
Yet.
Right?
He came close. He came close a few times.
Good. Because I think that, for people to back off, because I've seen he points it, and people go like, oh shit. But he's never used it.
He cut the ring ropes.
Oh, wow. You know what? I can cook a steak. I can cut a steak. I have a little knife and I go like this. And then I
smash the table.
He did.
Okay, great. He can attack inanimate objects. But what if he beheads a human being? Then you get scared. Then you're like,
we get full-blown murder. I'm in.
It wouldn't be the first time we saw full-blown murder on WWE, and then the next week they just pretended like they didn't do it.
That's also true.
I say do it. NXT is the place for it, though.
At the very least, Claymore, dude, go grab your giant metaphorical dick and stick it right to his throat and threaten to stab him. But you're a good guy, so you don't. At least make him feel like you're gonna, poke him in the throat with it.
What's more intimidating, Drew's sword or Brock's sword?
Drew's sword.
Drew's.
Now, sure? if this was an anime and Brock could reach into his chest and pull the sword out,
yes,
and it was like flaming.
Oh yeah,
that would be kind of cool. But,
once again, that sounds like something right up NXT 2.0's alley.
You stop that.
It does. They have what's Kaylee Ray's new name? Something Fire. Alba Fire. There you go. She has a fire baseball bat. Brock can have a fire tattoo sword that he pulls out with magic.
Doesn't Xia Li have lightning? Doesn't she has like?
Well, I don't know because they don't fucking show her on TV anymore.
Yeah.
If Jericho can do fireballs, Lesnar can have fire tattooed swords.
We saw her 2 weeks. We saw her 2 weeks ago, basically saying that she's not protecting anyone but herself anymore. And I guess by doing that, she meant she's going to hang out in catering and not come out and fight. So.
Oh, so they dumped the gimmick?
Well, no, she's still the protector, but she doesn't protect other people. Now she's just protecting herself.
I literally hate.
SmackDown's been trash. I got nothing to swallow from it, really. I don't think.
No, I'm spending the entire show. Gonna swallow the fact that Butch was found. It's always good to find a fellow comrade. You never want a comrade of yours in need to be lost in the wilderness without adult supervision.
In the wilderness?
We don't know where he was. He could have been.
We do know where he was. He was
under the
Hornswoggle in the magical land.
Maybe there's a wilderness underneath the ring. We only saw the courthouse of.
No, we saw the hallway leading to the courthouse as well. Don't be. There
could be more to it. They could have expanded a wilderness to it.
Are you trying to turn little people into gnomes, Vince?
Wow, it's pretty fucked up, Vince. It's pretty fucked up.
When you imply it like that, it sounds horrible. But I'm just saying, maybe there's more to.
You're the one saying it. You're the one saying it. So maybe you're the one applying it.
Also, Matt implied that all Mexicans are liars, but I didn't go out right out and say it.
I did not imply all Mexicans are liars. I implied that Santos was a liar, and I understand why you like Santos because your favorite wrestler was also a liar who happened to be Mexican. Did I say that you're a liar? No, I did not. Did I say every single Mexican was? I said no. You like Mexican liars is what I said. That is what I said. You like Mexicans that lie. That is all I said.
No, I don't believe so, but neither here nor there. Once again, like I said, I'm swallowing the fact that Butch was found.
I'll swallow Sasha versus Shayna, I guess. Sasha versus Shayna, but other than that, I got nothing.
No, I got nothing for SmackDown.
No, I got nothing. I can't.
It's the roughest watch of wrestling on North American television right now.
And we complain about Raw, but at least Raw's got something. This has nothing for me.
Yeah, no.
They have
SmackDown was really good, and then they remembered that they don't give a fuck about the brand split, and then after they did that, and Roman wasn't exclusive anymore, SmackDown lost all its luster. Yeah,
they didn't care. They don't care anymore.
It was after the draft. After the draft, it went downhill.
We're all spitting SmackDown.
Yeah,
spit it.
All right, Rampage.
Here we go.
From what I read, we kicked it off with Tony and Ruby defeating Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter in the tag team match. Hook ends up wrecking JD Drake, And then Danhausen, being the good man that he is, comes down to celebrate with what he wants to be as his new friend, the toddler Hook. Says, "Oh, please be in my corner." Hook shoves him because he's an angry little child to the ground. And then Danhausen, instead of cursing him, is like, "I brought you chips." And then Hook storms to the back to go take a nap because he's a little bitch.
Were they Funyuns?
I cannot. No, they were chips.
No, they were not Funyuns. I think
that's why he tossed him on the floor. I would have tossed him too.
Yeah.
Riho defeats Yuka Sakazaki to get her spot in the Owen tournament. I heard that Yuka looked very good in this match.
They both did.
And then in our main event, Konski takes a shitta, loses to Jay Lethal.
God.
Who?
Konski takes a shitta.
What?
Loses to Jay
You
Lethal.
son of a bitch!
You know damn well he was never gonna say it right or even try.
I was so stoked. I was like, I'm coming on. He's gonna try. He's gonna try. You know.
I saw Takashita and I could not help myself. I could not help myself. It was right there. It was right there.
I mean, it's pretty.
It's
Is it-
Takashita, by the way.
Takashita. So
Yes.
it's Konosuke Takashita.
Exactly. Konosuke Takashita. Very good. Very
I
good.
can't
See,
say that.
he's good when he tries. He's really good.
Oh, he knows what he
he knows exactly what the
But
fuck he's doing.
to be fair, I was calling him Takashita. That's how, for years. Until I heard Excalibur call him on a couple of weeks ago when he was on Dark. I was like, oh, shit. Okay. And then I'm going around the house going, Takashita.
Which is very close to take a shitta. Very close.
Doesn't he also call Toruhiro Ishii and it's just supposed to be Ishii? Doesn't he mispronounce that though? So
I don't know if he mispronounces it. I say Ishii.
I always say Ishii. I thought it was always Ishii until they were calling him Ishii on AEW.
Fuck you. Every time now.
Tommy Hero Itchy, thank you very much. Just like Titty Sewer NATO and Hiroshima Tamagotchi.
That's the one I hate the most.
That's my favorite one.
Though my favorite thing is that I'm like, if I say Titty Sewer NATO, they're like, oh yeah, Tetsuya Naito. And I'm like, okay. But I said Itchy, and Reek was like, who is Itchy? And I'm like, you can't get Ishii from Itchy, but you can get fucking Titty Sewer NATO to, yeah. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
No, I played a lot of Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors, so I am familiar with the pronunciation, like Yokomira Sonata and things like that. I learned, and there a lot of the names that I see, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that in the game, and that's how they pronounce it in the game. So that's where I get. So I do know how to. I just think it's more fun to do it my way. So
you put the entertainment in the sports.
I try.
That's what you
Also, after this match, the Average at Best Friends come down to get wrecked by. Why are you looking at me like that?
Me?
I was just trying to breathe. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Shame on you. Don't you know we're taking all those rights away? You can't breathe now.
Don't fucking start.
We will get on it. We will get on it. Also, Joe came down to help, but security stopped him, so he couldn't.
With Satnam Singh. That's what you with Satnam Singh.
That's where I was. Satnam Singh
Something
wrecked
good.
the Average at Best Friends. Rampage, what are spits and swallows from Rampage?
I really liked this episode of Rampage. I thought it was very good. I thought Swallow, the opening match, the women's tag team match was very good. But no shock there. You've got 4 elite women in the ring doing what they do best, which is professional wrestling.
Is the pun intended?
More or less.
Okay.
No, not really. I like really elite in the Oxford Dictionary sense, as opposed to the quippy promotional thing.
Top-notch
I think
women.
this is top-notch women, guys. They were very good. I think this is Ruby Soho's best match in AEW to date. I think that it was right up there. And you know what? Here's what's wild. Toni Storm, this was the first match that she ever wrestled against Britt Baker. And second time she faced Jamie Hayter. And these are women who've been wrestling for. And I'm like, how little she had been doing over the past, 3 to 4 years, 5 years since she was in NXT UK. Where I'm like, this is crazy. It was very, very good. I thought the other women's match was also very good, but again, no surprise because they come from the same background. They've wrestled each other numerous times. Yuka's fantastic. Riho, I call her Needle Mover Rio. It's a bit of a meme on the Mr. Warren Hayes Discord, by the way. Sign up, join. It's fantastic. Check it out. But it's a bit of a meme there. Whenever because there's certain proof, or there's a trend. That's the word I was looking for. There's a trend where somehow Dynamite does good numbers or Rampage does good numbers. Oh, and Riho just happens to be on the show. You know, so I'm like, but I mean, it's bullshit. It's not necessarily because of her, but it's like it just so happens she's on the show. So I'm like, I'm very curious to see if I can continue that meme when the ratings come next week. And the Takashita Lethal match was very good, even though I cannot stand Jay Lethal for multiple reasons. Takashita he was true to himself. He's fantastic. He's on excursion in the United States for the next year, so I assume we're going to see him pop up a few times on AEW, on the dark programming and so on and so forth, but he's going to be all over the indies. He's got all sorts of dates booked, and he's going to have a field day. He's going to be treated like a star, and he's fantastic, and we're lucky to have him on North American shores. It honestly was a very, very, very good match. A good, I don't have, spit the Jericho thing with the voicemail from Eddie Kingston. I don't understand. It was super awkward. Did not understand it.
And what I read,
didn't see, he got a phone. They're at the because he does commentary,
which is terrible.
And Excalibur goes, "Chris, you have a voicemail," and I'm like, "Excalibur, what the fuck are you doing? Looking at the notifications on other people's phones. You're calling. You're gonna have to tell us what's happening on Wednesday, and you're gonna have 10 seconds to do it. You're gonna have to run down the full card. What the fuck are you doing?" Anyway, so Chris Jericho, of course, pulls up his phone and puts it on speaker for everyone to, because you're like, oh, it might be my blood test results. Let's make sure that everyone, in the United States knows it. And it's Eddie Kingston left him a message. Very awkward, very weird. It was sort of edited because probably they couldn't get Kingston's message clear on the mics. And look, it was just an awkward segment. It didn't quite connect.
Sounds bad.
I'm going to continue to spit Hook being a little bitch.
Yeah.
Yes. The disrespect to Danhausen.
Stop disrespecting Danhausen. He offered you chips, the one thing you like, tiny child, and you refuse.
He is literally the American version of Justin Bieber. Like, he's a kid who got popular and no one really knows why, and people love him. He's very sleepy. He's a child. He is what an Americanized version of I imagine Justin Bieber would be if we took like a wholesome Canadian and presented him.
Would that happen to Warren, a wholesome Canadian, and presented him that way?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like once we Canadians get famous on American television, we become assholes. That's it's in our DNA.
And Hook just started out as an asshole, so.
How out of control will Warren's hair get on American television is my question.
Oh no, well, I mean, we can see here.
Look at that.
Look at that. Look at them locks. Jesus.
Oh my God, is that Hook?
It's not bad, man. It's a little more silvery than Hook, but
you just dyed it that way. It looks good on you.
That's not bad, right?
Yeah. It looks great.
Fantastic.
Rampage overall, spit or swallow? Spit, swallow. What are we doing?
I'll swallow it, specifically women.
Okay.
I'll swallow it. I thought it was a very good Rampage.
I'm gonna sidestep it and just pretend it's not there and walk away from it. That's not a category because I didn't. I'm just gonna completely like sidestep it. I'm like, ew, no.
Mr. Warren Hayes, what was your favorite show this week?
Rampage.
Yeah. Katie?
NXT
Spring Break-In. Vince?
NXT.
And you know me, gave me
Gigi
Dolan running around on the beach. I cannot beat that on anything on any other program. It's gonna be NXT Spring Break-In. So, per the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, best show of the week was Rampage, and per the She League Showcase and the Smackin' Raw podcast, best show of the week, NXT 2.0's Spring Break-In. I want to thank everyone for coming on the show and doing this. I had a blast. We laughed a lot. If I can be serious for a minute. No, in all seriousness, I meant to talk about this at the beginning of the show and I didn't. I've already talked to Warren about this, but obviously everyone is aware of what is going on in the world, in America specifically, with women's rights and them trying to take them away. And if you've been listening to the show and you've heard us talk about Black Lives Matter and ask you to go buy Black Lives Matter shirts, it should be no surprise what side of the line we stand on in support of women and their body autonomy and their rights to do with their bodies as they please. So Jizzy is working on, from the Deadass Girls, a very awesome design. She says she's actually getting it colored right now. I was hoping to debut it tonight, but I won't be able to. For t-shirts that will go up on our Teespring store that you will purchase, with all of the money being donated to Women's Reproductive Rights Assistance Project from the Smackin' Raw podcast. It is something that I'm also going to share with other podcasts so that they can put that shirt up and choose a charity that they want to donate to, whether it's Planned Parenthood or whatever, but all of the money going to programs and people that support this cause, because it's very important to us. I want my daughter to grow up in a world where she has the choice of what to do with her body and is not forced by the state or any governing body to make decisions for her. Right. I also, same thing with Katie, my wife, and everyone that I love. I want them to be treated as equal. I am allowed to go do with my penis whatever I want. They should be allowed to take their vaginas and do whatever they want without any step-ins from government or anyone else. So because of that, we are going to do this. As always, you can also go, please get those Black Lives Matter t-shirts from Young Kings Wrestling. It is my pin tweet right now. I will release the design when it is ready for you all to see. It is awesome. Jizzy has done a fantastic job. So please look out for that, and please support women's rights.
It's not hard.
It's not hard
at all.
No, you're here.
Warren, tell everyone where they can find you and your great show and all the fun things you do and the Uchi Kuchi Agamis. And
yes, the Uchi, you can come and discover the fine world of Uchi Kuchi Kagamis and whatever. I don't know. It's too late to be witty as far as wrestling moves go. But no, I do the Mr. Warren Hayes Show every Thursday night. I record it live on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. And that's it. I just cover whatever I want to cover over the course of the week. I usually do a lot of reviews from across the spectrum of pro wrestling. So if you're interested, if you feel like it, if you want to come join a fun community at the same time, there's that. I also do another podcast with my co-host Sean Taggart called Hot Shakes and Hand Dogs, where we cover the world of independent wrestling. That's another podcast on the same channel, all the same outlets that we record on Tuesday evenings. And if you we don't sit around and try to pretend that we're that we're gatekeeping. Au contraire, I feel like our podcast is very our indie podcast is very good for anyone who wants to get into the indie scene. Here's a lot of this name, that name, but I don't know where to turn. I don't know where to start, because sometimes getting into indie wrestling can be a little rough. Well, we can help you along. We give some recommendations, some suggestions, shows that are coming up. There's always shows on the weekends. So yeah, there's that as well. So all you have to do is subscribe to youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. You'll get all of that. Or you can find us as well on your favorite podcast app, because it's all audio as well. So there you go. That covers everything. But thank you so much, Matt, for having me on again. I had a lot of fun again. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I thought it was hot takes and hand jobs. Got really excited. Went to go listen to the first episode. It was not, but it is fantastic. And I listened to it to figure out what wrestlers' names I have to mispronounce when they get famous, and B, learn a little bit about the indies. So at least that way, when I talk shit, I can back it up. So no, they do a great job over there. Definitely go check that out. Katie, She Elite Showcase just dropped. If you are ready.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
That's why I'm happy we're here. I had a minute to compose myself. You can follow me on Twitter at KatieWrestling13, the link tree in my bio to take you all things She Elite Showcase, twitch.tv/She Elite Showcase. Typically Thursdays 9 p.m. We compete against Warden. Go watch his, he's better. But it's summer. Savannah's done with school. She will be, so we might be switching up days. I don't know. It'll be a week by week thing. We have YouTube. Subscribe to that. Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. She Elite is the weekly recap we do, which that's out. Inside the Mind of interview series I do with people in the wrestling community. All 3 of them have been on. All great episodes. Check those out. In the Crowd, a collab show I do, is a shit show, basically. But that's why I love doing it. Matt and Vince were the latest episode. Savannah has a show, New Japan Takeover. She talks about all things New Japan. She has a Bullet Club Day episode that I had to upload, and in the process spilled pop on my $700 gaming PC. Everything's fine. I had a heart attack. It's great. My keys are just not working properly right now, but that's fine. The things I do for my co-host, what can I say? And I have merch out there now.
Buy merch so that Katie can get a keyboard that works for her laptop.
Yeah,
there you go.
That. But also when Matt drops that shirt, I'll have that up on mine as well. Because women, I know, crazy. Women's rights? Weird. It's like America doesn't think they fucking exist.
America and Tony Khan.
My co-host, my friend, Daddy Delgado, who decides to find a different corner of his house to podcast in every week.
Yes.
Please plug you and your stuff.
You can follow me on social media at SESVince on Instagram and Twitter. The link trees in both of my bios will take you to everything Spit or Swallow, everything Straight Talk, everything Smackin Raw. You can find all the content there. I just recently dropped a new Straight Talk episode talking about the Chicago Bulls season in review. So if you're a basketball fan, that's a good place for you. If you're a Chicago basketball fan and you love the Bulls, specifically, we're going to sit there and talk with my good friend Bosch. I'm going to do a review for Doctor Strange that just recently came out, but I'm going to give that a month or so, let everybody get a chance to watch it. But yeah, just search up at SES Vince in your podcast feed or whatever, and you're going to find everything Straight Talk there.
And the Spit or Swallow Society should be getting back together for WrestleMania Backlash.
I was actually thinking, because it is Mother's Day, I might just do like a Spit or Swallow quickie where it's just me for like 10-15 minutes talking about like WrestleMania Backlash.
You are the pro at quickies, Vince. So if anyone can do it, it's you.
That's what I was going to say something earlier, because Vince doesn't believe in foreplay.
Yes.
I believe in it.
I have
always necessary.
I have a request. For anyone who doesn't know, next week it will be Vince, Charlie from the Get Yo podcast, and Kyle from the Apron Bump. So the original shit show is getting back together. And since it's probably going to be a shit show, can you podcast from your bathroom? I think it's the only place in the house we haven't had you podcast from.
Okay. So I've podcast here originally. I podcast against that wall when I first moved in. So
casting couch.
walls.
We've podcasted
Casting
in your
couch.
Yeah,
bedroom.
we've seen your living
Bedroom.
room. Vince. Switch it up.
We've seen
kitchen.
the kitchen. Yeah, we've seen it.
No, I don't
It's
think
been in the
we've
background.
podcasted.
Yeah, because Jesus fell going into the kitchen. We saw it.
Oh, not Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus fell going into the kitchen, but the view of the kitchen was actually not presented.
Oh,
No, that's not true.
So funny.
We saw your sister in the kitchen. She poked her head out.
Yeah.
Too. We've seen the kitchen.
Really?
The only
We've
place we
seen
haven't
the
seen is your
kitchen.
bathroom.
So
Okay, I'll sit on the toilet while I podcast next week.
Beautiful. That's all I wanted. You guys can follow me at Matt Ritter. There's that MATTRIDDER on Twitter, only Twitter and Instagram, Smackin' Raw Pod. I run the Twitter. Vince runs the Instagram, Smackin' Raw Pod on Facebook, facebook.com/group/Smackin' Raw. Creation World is the banner under which the Smackin' Raw podcast exists. You can find them at creationworld.com, facebook.com/Creation World, Instagram, the Creation World, THECREATIA World. Please go check them out. They will also possibly have a variant of that shirt that we will be releasing separately as well. So you can get multiple shirts that look different, say different things, and support different charities, all for the same cause. I'm looking forward to this. This is a really great idea that I got great collaborators with. And yeah, please do that. For Mr. Warren Hayes, Miss Katie Kinsey Bay, and Daddy Delgado, Vince, I am the patron saint of podcasting, the Warden Matt Ritter. This has been Smackin' Raw, the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub.
There you go.